Boys are going to bring the heat today.
As the leader of the Booner Pack, I lead from the front.
All right, boys. Lock in.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
I'm fired up. I'm fired the up, boys.
It's pumping right now. It's got my juices pumping, boys.
Welcome to Crunch Time Sports with Jeff, Booner, and Lukas. It is Wednesday, May 14th. And Boone, the Lions' schedule is about to come out in a couple of minutes. We already have the unofficial leaked schedule that we can show off and talk about, but the official one comes out in 5 minutes. We're going to be breaking it down, going game by game, giving our records, and then we have the doc joining later in the show. So it's going to be a great one.
I'm pumped up. I mean, looking at the schedule, I mean, obviously we have an idea of what it is. And I was telling you before, I was just telling you before, like we've known what the opponents are, and we've known that, hey, Lions are going to have a tough road schedule. Like some of the best quarterbacks in the entire NFL, you're going on the road. You're going on the road to Baltimore to play Lamar Jackson. You're going on the road to play Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts, Matthew Stafford. Like it's a gauntlet, right? It was just interesting to me to finally see like how I was telling you, like the NFL could screw you, right? And they could put you like at the end of the season with like you're going up against Kansas City, Cincinnati, Baltimore, Washington, Philly, Dallas, Rams, like all 7 straight weeks, and you could get absolutely screwed. Like we've seen teams have to do that. I think the NFL kind of did a little bit of justice for this Lions team to where it's a pretty, and I don't know if you feel the same way. I feel like it's a pretty, I'll say spread out schedule to where you have, I was telling you, like you have sections of this schedule where you're going to go through some battles, but then there's also those teams in the middle where it's like, all right, I'm not saying any team in the NFL is a down week, but okay, we have a team and two here in between before we have to actually get back and go against another elite quarterback, or we have a bye week, or we have a 10-day period of a stretch off because it's a Thursday to a Sunday, like, things like that. So I actually, if I had to give it out of, I know we're talking about it throughout the whole shot. I like what I've seen though. I do like what I've seen.
Yeah, I looked at it. Again, the unofficial one, which I think typically will probably be 90%, if not more, right? There's a gauntlet in there. There is a gauntlet in there, and we're going to talk about that. Just like the stretch of games they have, but the benefit of that, and I'll talk about this more later, is they have a bye week in the middle of that. So that helps. Last year, man, they had the early bye.
Week 5.
Yeah, which sucks.
Great.
In this year it's a little better. They pushed it back a couple weeks, so you have it literally mid-season bye, which that's how bye weeks. It sucks when teams get early ones, or it's sometimes better to get late ones, but the middle ones are just perfect. You get one.
I think the week 8 one is in such a good spot, especially with who you're playing. Like you said before and after, you're sitting there going, okay. I think the NFL, when they give out hard schedules, I think they start to take a couple things into consideration. If like, hey, we're giving this team an absolute gauntlet, we have to help them out a little bit. We have to give them some leeway.
Bottom line says, I'm disappointed that Rams-Lions isn't prime time. Yeah, it's just I think it's worn out a little bit. You talked about that, Boone. It's a great game, but I don't think when you look at the prime time games they do have, I mean, they all have their own storylines. I don't hate it. Personally, I would love to see Lions-Rams. I could see it every time. I just love watching Jared face the Rams, but I can see why now it's like, hey,
It's a little watered down, and not in a bad way.
Yeah.
It's just really just more so watered down to where it's like any matchup you can only hype up so much, especially when it's not like a rivalry, when it's just really the rivalry is just basically because the quarterbacks played on the other teams. At some point, you're just like, okay, especially when you've like the best matchup you've had out of it was in the playoffs. That kind of changes it. It's not a divisional rivalry or anything, where I think sometimes divisional rivalries you get into it. Or if it's like Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, like that will never get old. That's always going to be prime time.
It's like the Lions when they faced Baltimore and they got whooped a couple of years ago. That was like a 4:00 game, I think.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. So, and that game was, it wasn't entertaining, but on paper it was good. It was set to be entertaining.
I don't know
it happens that way sometimes.
I forgot to write on my paper here all the primetime games, so I'm just going through real quick.
Nick says, can't they flex week 15 or is it week 17 only if there's playoff implications? Yes.
Yeah, I can pull it up real quick.
Yes. It can be flexed. So, I mean, again,
let me just pull it up.
That Rams Lions game could look really good because that's late in the year. Yeah, week 15.
Yeah, so for Sunday Night Football, it may be used up to twice between weeks 5 and 10. And for Sunday Night Football, you're able to, I believe it's twice as well in between 11 and 17. So there's that. And for Monday Night Football, it may be used any week. There's no limit to it. Any week between weeks 12 and 17. And Thursday night, it may be used up to 2 times between weeks 13 and 17. So, I mean, you're sitting right in the middle of that with that Rams game. Same thing. Dallas is already prime time. Yeah, you're sitting there. You probably won't do the Pittsburgh one. So that week 15 Rams game, you're probably sitting there going, let's do it. If it comes down to where it's like, hey, that could be like a 1-seed matchup or, a thing like that.
I want to personally, I want to see strength of schedule. I want to see how every team ranks with that stuff. That's what I want to see.
I thought they released that already. They have that.
Did they?
Yeah, because everyone already knew their teams and they do it based off of winning percentage.
So where are the Lions on that?
Like second. I can look it up. The Bears and the Lions are like top 2, top 3.
Lions are Pennywise says they're third. We'll check right now.
Yeah, we'll second or third. I can just pull it up here real quick.
I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense.
Let me get
taking a look at it. It's especially the road games, which I have my record. We'll get to our record. We'll go game by game. I'll explain why I have losses, or maybe we don't have losses. Maybe we have them going 17-0, but we'll get to that. And when I break down my losses, I got a twist on it.
Let's do this. So I don't know if we're allowed. I mean, I've done it before. I've played press conferences while I did solo shows on Crunch Time. We could pull up the Lions YouTube if you want. It's premiering the. I don't think we'll.
Yeah, we did it. We played it last year.
We might get demonetized for the show specifically, but I mean, I think we can for one show.
I could give a rat's ass.
Yeah, I think we did it last year. We could just premiere and watch it together so the people can watch it with us.
Let me put it up.
They just tweeted it out. I'm interested to see what they did this year. Imagine if they just did. Shout out Danny, but imagine it was just
video to break it all down. But for the moment you've all been waiting for, it's 8 p.m. Let's take a look.
Oh, here we go.
Detroit Lions,
what if it was just her just being like, week 1, this week?
It's like crunch time. We know you're doing it. Get off.
I thought the top left thing said, warning, please do not use this on any other.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
Come on. Yep. I like that.
Oh, so they're just going around the city. They're going around the city and okay, so far we're good. So far it's right.
In Ford Field.
Right so far it's right. Baltimore week 3.
Here we go.
ESPN ABC. That's a primetime game.
Shadur.
Browns 1 p.m. That's our first 1 p.m. game, I think. That's our first 1 p.m. game.
Oh, here we go.
Bengals, Lions. Where's that
at?
Get
in here, Klotzy. Get in here.
How we doing,
Week 5, 425. What's up, Klotzy? Another 425 game.
We're watching it live, Klotzy. This whole breakdown thing. Oh, yeah.
Chiefs, Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah,
Bucks. Hey, that's a primetime game as well, 7 p.m.
Bye week. I love that.
Week 8.
I love that. I love that.
Whoever did that, spot on. Week 8. Bye.
Vikings right out the bye week. Come on, JJ.
Vikings. That's a 1 p.m. game.
Here's the gauntlet, by the way.
Yeah,
yes.
dude.
You got
Commanders. 425 until we only have 2 1 p.m.
Philly.
so far.
Oh,
What's that? Sunday Night Football. Yep.
Only 2 1 p.m. games is crazy. We're not even see that.
As of now. Giants. There's another 1 p.m. game.
3.
Giants.
Oh, yeah.
Thanksgiving. They switched it to 1. That doesn't count. That's prime time.
Yeah.
Dallas. Thursday Night Football on
John
prime.
Tyler.
There we go, Rams. What's the Rams time? What's the Rams time?
It's going to be 4, I bet. Yep, 4.
4:25.
Game of the week.
America's Game of the week on Fox.
America's Game of the
Steelers, 4:25.
This video's badass, dude. This is sick.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It's not like the Chargers,
Vikings.
but it's pretty sick.
4:30 Christmas Day, which is the worst of all time.
That made me
Come on,
so
campus. Look at it.
And the Chicago Bears. TBD. TBD. You know what that means.
There you
Oh,
go.
there we go.
For a second, boys. Pause for a
1,
second right there.
2. So we have a Chicago 1 p.m. The Tampa Bay game is a 7 p.m. Monday Night Football game. I don't know if anyone knew that. I could be wrong, but that's prime time.
By the way, look at that Chicago game at the end. Date and time TBD, because that could be a good one. That might be a first.
Or-
and second
That'll be
place.
the early game.
Huh? Come on.
That'll be the early game. Won't come down to the wire with the Vikings
I mean-
like they did last year.
Realistically, boys, they have 7 primetime games if you're counting Thanksgiving and Christmas Day. That's a lot. That's a lot of primetime games.
It is a lot of prime. It is a lot of prime time games.
I wonder where that ranks them on the league.
Hey, Klotz, I talked about at the beginning of the show. They got that gauntlet to start. They got Bengals, Chiefs, Tampa, bye week, Vikings, Commanders, Eagles.
Yeah, they get
At least
this
they
is
got
a
the bye week though, right in the middle of it.
it's a deep schedule. Like even
That's
week
it.
3 against Baltimore. Like if you start out 2-0, great. But now you're going into Baltimore against Lamar Jackson. You get the Browns. Hopefully it's Shadur Sanders for your sake, but ideally probably going to be Joe Flacco. Then you go into Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Baker Mayfield, JJ McCarthy if he's good, Jane Daniels, Jalen Hurts. Like it is such a deep schedule compared to last year. You're taking on the AFC North instead of the AFC South, and not to mention you're sprinkling in a couple of teams that you didn't play last year as well, like the Chiefs and the Ravens. So boys, it's going to be
Yeah. I mean,
17
Klotz,
games.
let's
Lot of
call
good
spades of spades, though. Like, we already knew it was a deep schedule. No one, like, that I think that's been, like, very well known.
Like you said, Boone,
I think
it's like you're seeing it now. It's like
you're seeing it. The one positive I'm taking from it, and the one thing, like, the NFL could have, and again, I'll say, like I said earlier, the NFL could have screwed the Detroit Lions and said, those road games you have with those elite quarterbacks, like we're putting them all back to back, or we're going to front end them, or we're going to back end them to where it's okay. You can have a walk in the park. We're going to make sure you have an absolute tough stretch down at the end of the season, and going into the playoffs, you're going to have no confidence. No, you know what they did? It feels like they looked at it a little bit and said, okay, let's try and Lions have one of the toughest schedules in the NFL. We understand that. Let's give them their bye week right in the middle. Let's help them out. Bye week right in the middle. They gave us some Thursday night games that could get you 10 days off, right? So you have a couple extended periods off, and they spread it out. Like I get Klotz, I'm with you. Like it's like there's gauntlets in here, but it's like there was always going to be. No matter how you did this schedule, you would have been able to take 3 game stretches. No matter how you could click shuffle on this 100 times and take 3 games stretches out, and you're going up against at least 2 elite quarterbacks every 3 game stretch. So it's like it was going to happen. I think there was a good chance here that they did. I think they spread it out fine. Like I don't know another way you could have been able to take the schedule and make it any better with the teams you play. Like I really don't. Like I think like I broke it down here. I told you, Jeff, before the show into 5 stages. Like first 2 games, let's just get 2-0 there. Next 3 or 4 games, let's get to 3 and let's that stretch of football. Let's go 3-2 there. The next stretch, I had a 4-game stretch. Let's go 3-1, right? Like the next one, 3 games. Let's go 3-0. Like I think you have to break it up like that because it's like, hey, this thing's a gauntlet, and it was going to be a gauntlet no matter what. So thankfully, thank you, Roger Goodell, for not just absolutely throwing Kansas City at the end with the Rams and the Cowboys and the Eagles and the Commanders and the Ravens and the Bengals, like all in like one row, man. That would have killed me. I think it would have. Like look at this 3 columns right here, boys.
Yeah.
If you break it down like that, it's like, okay, we can do this, boys. We got this. We got this.
They do.
Yeah,
I mean, it's going to be a very good football team still.
Yeah, J Hart said all the outdoor games early in the season.
There are
That's how it's
3.
That's how it's shaped up. Kansas City, Philly,
Yeah.
Bengals,
Baltimore.
The only
they
one
at
that's bad
Washington?
is week 18 is you're outside at Soldier Field, and it's probably going to be snow, and it's going to be negative degrees. But before that, the one before is Eagles in Washington, week 10, 11, November. It should be decent, right, boys?
Which Packers game's on the road? Is that
week 1?
First game, week 1, we're on the road.
Yeah, that's good. In Lambeau, right off the rip in September. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point.
So
that's
a positive.
Weezy said, will Davenport make it to the Chiefs game? Or
That's a great question. That is
hope
an
so.
elite question, I'd say, that no one has the answer to, because he might not even make it to the Packers game week 1 through training camp.
Yeah,
Chiefs going to be up there in the last couple of years in career highs in game played. If he can make it to week 6, would love to see that against Patty Mahomes. But at the end of the day, you need Marcus Davenport healthy, because to Booner's point, look at those 3 columns. Elite quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Who did they play last year? Mac Jones, CJ Beathard.
They
bums.
Mac Jones, who versus who?
Jacksonville.
I'm trying to think.
Oh,
why am I blanking, man? Regular season. What's like the tough? Oh, Josh Allen.
Josh Allen.
That was at home. But still, Josh Allen.
Baker.
Matthew Stafford.
Week
Matthew.
1.
They played obviously Jordan Love twice.
Kyler, I guess if you want to throw him in there.
Yeah, but it wasn't obviously this. I mean, now you have a stretch with. You look at the stretch. They have Joe Burrow, Mahomes, and then you go to Baker, and then we'll see what
CJ Stroud,
and then you got then you got Jaden Daniels, and then Jalen Hurts. But then, like you said, Boone, to end the year, you have Jordan Love, you have Dak, Matthew. Okay, and then you have TBD with the Steelers, JJ,
a rookie quarterback, Caleb. Yeah, like I think if you break this up into the schedule into pieces, I think I'm not going to say favorable, because I know just the matchups you have aren't fair for any team. Like the Chiefs could have this schedule, the best team in the NFL could have this schedule, and you're having that same conversation. Like this is tough. Like the Lions are in the conversation with the Ravens, the Chiefs. I'll say the Rams too for Klotz. The Eagles, like they're that good. But when you have to play every single one of the top teams in the NFL, like, yep, not every team has to do that every year. The only positive I'll take out of this as well, boys, like you're going to be prepared for the playoffs. Like you're going to be ready to go. There's no like last year, I'm not going to say we lost because we weren't prepared, but it was an easy schedule, right? Like you didn't really go up against guys like that. And then when you went up against CJ Stroud, you saw you get down early. And then, you end up having to come back. You play Josh Allen, you lose. And then you're like, okay, we're not really ready for this, right? Like we don't have a defense and we've struggled in those moments. And then you get to the playoffs and you play Jaden Daniels, one of the most electric quarterbacks in the NFL, and with the playmaking quarterbacks in the NFL, and you struggle. So I think this prepares this team down the stretch.
I think it's good. It's good and bad to have a stretch like we're talking about. It's good because Calvin and John Morton, they're going to figure. I mean, you're going to find out a lot about them. They're going to find out a lot about themselves too during that stretch, to where towards the end of the year, whatever you think needs fixing or tweaking, you will have time to figure that out. And they also play teams that you're probably going to see trying to win a Super Bowl in the NFC. And the AFC, obviously, but the NFC specifically. I mean, you play Philly, Washington, and Los Angeles. Those are all 3 teams that I think will be there at the end in the NFC. So you're going to already have played those teams, which they could say the same thing about the Lions, of course. But you would have already played those teams now heading into the playoffs eventually. Yep. So that's the good news, is you already kind of know you're going to know what to expect from Washington, Philly, and LA. Mm-hmm. And then obviously Kansas City will be there, and the Bengals, we'll see what happens with them, but you never know. They'll probably be back in the playoffs. So that's and then obviously Baltimore. So even if you make the Super Bowl, you're going to play a team. You're probably going to play these teams twice in the playoffs and or the Super Bowl. So you'll be
battle tested. And I think that's good. I would rather be battle tested than to have a cakewalk and get absolutely thrown around in the playoffs. So
it's like Pittsburgh years ago. Remember, they were like 16-1
every year for Pittsburgh. Yeah.
Or at one point, what were they? Like 13-0 actually at one point.
Something like that.
The Eagles 2 years ago.
The Vikings back when they were 13-3. Like you won't be able to use the argument of the Detroit Lions being frauds last year. A lot of people did last year because of 15 wins, injuries, and schedule. But I think any NFC North team that walks out of there into the playoff is a legitimate team because they all have similar schedules. They don't have the first place schedule that the Lions have, but they still have to play the AFC North and the Kansas City Chiefs and a lot of the similar teams. So no team in the NFC North, I think, will be fraudulent if they walk into the playoffs next year.
What about Shift God? So, fellas, does the 1 seed matter to you or long-term health?
I think, if I'm just being honest, long-term health for sure. I don't think the 1 seed. I don't think the seeding matters at all. Like, you got to win football games no matter what.
Yeah, win your division.
And
that's what I want.
And I think, Klotz, we had this argument last year, and I'm not saying you're right, but at the end of the day, like, yes, my point stands. Like, you would rather have home games. Like, I would rather have the 1 seed and play all the way through the playoffs at home. But at the end of the day, it's like, dude, like, we just lost the first round at home. You just need to win. Like, figure out in the regular season, like, prepare yourself to get to the Super Bowl and win a Super Bowl in the regular season. I'm not going to sit back and be like, man, like 15-2, and then you lose in the divisional round again. No, like I would rather go 12 or 13 and 4 or 5 or whatever it is, and make a Super Bowl run than going 15-2. Like, I'll take 13 wins. I'll take 12 wins instead of the 15 and losing. Like, that doesn't matter to me at the end of the day.
Very well said. And to answer that question directly, like last year showed perfectly why you'd rather have long-term health over the 1 seed.
Yeah, agreed. You boys want to go through game by game? You ready? And
yeah, because
you're gonna find out what our records are at the end. But we're gonna go through game by game, give our thoughts, debate the games, why you think it could be a loss, why you think it could be a win. Chat, feel free, play along with us, and at the end we'll come up with our record. It's obviously
make sure.
May, so we'll have more time before the season to alter or tweak anything. But this is first reaction breakdown. What do we think happens? All right.
Yeah. Make sure too, you guys, Klotz, Jeff, write down as you're going, so at the end you know what you have.
Because I already have my losses and I already have my record. So I have.
Okay, yeah, I have mine. I was just letting you guys know so we know.
I'm gonna kind of have, and it's a twist. I have some. It's gonna be a weird one when we break it down because
people might hate mine.
Because when I came up with my conclude, I sat there and I was like, I don't know if this is right, but it is right. You know, like to me, I just looking at it doesn't look right, but it's just what I think. So we'll start with the season opener. Come on. They play the Green Bay Packers. That game is at Green Bay. Week 1 to start the year. What do we think happens week 1, fellas? On the road in Green Bay to start the year. Is anyone a little nervous, or are we all pretty much going, yeah, I like this game as a win?
I'm a little nervous because of how the Packers game turned out last time, because it was very close. We all remember that Jared Goff kind of stumbling for the first down. That's at Ford Field. But going into Lambeau, boys, do we not remember what happened the first matchup with Kirby Joseph in the pick 6 and then the pick 6 against Aaron Rodgers? The Detroit Lions simply owned the Packers in Lambeau Field to open up the season. Give me the Lions with the W in Lambeau. W. Week 1, start out wheels on the road.
I think it's going to be John Morton's first game as OC. I think these guys, and especially Dan Campbell, he's only lost, I think, 1 game at Lambeau Field since taking over as the head coach in Detroit, which was his very first game at Lambeau. And then since then, like, these guys, I'll say this, they dominate in Lambeau Field, and Lions fans travel to Lambeau Field. We saw the picture last year and the videos last year of Lions fans taking over that field. It was like, people remember, we were calling it Ford Field. What was it? Ford Field, or Ford Field Junior or something like that. Like, whatever it is, it's just like Lions fans are going to, especially week 1 being on the road, Lions fans will show up. I think I'm not going to say it's going to be a blowout. It might be a good football game, but I think that's going to be a really good game. I think the Lions are going to find a way to win it. And I think that's going to be a little bit of a statement. I know it sounds crazy week 1, but all the conversations all offseason, like, hey, are the Lions still there? Are they still there? I think it will be one of those statement games. I think it's a 420. I think it's America's game of the week, 425. CBS. That's a statement game right there. You go in and beat Green Bay and dominate them first to start the season, you set the tone for the year. Like, you talk about some of these other teams looking at you being like, are they going to be scared of you, or are they going to be like, oh, we can beat this Lions team? You dominate the Packers on the road, that Ravens team's looking back and being like, no, this is a real football team.
Yeah, I'm with you guys on that. For whatever reason, the Lions, they play well in Green Bay, and I think week 1, they're going to be fired up. They're going to be so fired up. So I can see it's going to be a close game like it always is. But I think the Lions win in Green Bay to open up the year. I do. I think they win in Green Bay. It's a close game. I don't know if the spread's probably going to be like, 1.5, 2.5, maybe.
I could probably check right now.
Probably 2.5 Green Bay, or maybe 1.5 Lions. I don't know, but regardless, it'll be close. I think it'll be probably a field goal game, but I'm going to go with the Lions too. I think they
guess the line.
I'll say 1.5 Lions.
That's crazy. I'm gonna go 2.5.
Lions favored for both of you?
Yeah,
slightly.
Detroit Lions favored by 1.5 already.
Oh! Come on. I can yeah, that's something you could just tell. They're gonna be slightly favored. They'll get a couple points because they're at home, but yeah, we agree. They start off 1-0, so no losses yet. Until they get I'm just kidding. This is Ben Johnson's coming home party. I love that it's early in the year, fellas. I love it because this is a game I'm so excited to see. Ben Johnson back at Ford Field. Booing the shit out of them, and it's going to be amazing. It's going to be electric. New look Bears, Lions. What are we thinking? 1 p.m. game, which I'm surprised in Ford Field. Like, I mean, I get it. It's the Bears, though. I get it. They haven't proven anything yet, but for storylines, everyone should be watching this game. This is going to be a great game.
Yeah, I think the Bears. I mean, listen, Ben Johnson's first week. Who do they play? The Vikings. This is his first game.
I don't know,
but
I believe it's the NFC North. I think all of it's in the NFC North to start the season.
They play the Vikings. That's going to be good.
Yeah. So listen, I think it's going to be a fine first week for him. The environment in Detroit might be a little too much, if I'm just being quite honest. And that's not me saying Ben's not going to be a good coach. The fans are already in Detroit like on a different level compared to other franchises and other teams. The fact Ben Johnson, the guy that everyone is like enemy or mortal enemy number 1 in Detroit right now for this Lions fan base, coming back to Detroit in week 2. I'll tell you this right now. There is and Bears fans, Damon, you're watching, 0% chance the Detroit Lions lose to the Chicago Bears in week 2. 0.0% chance. It will not happen.
I'm with you, Boone. Ben better pack some nausea medicine. Caleb better pack his nail painting, his brush, everything, his mascara, just so he can look good for the game, because by the end of the game, he's going to need it because the Lions are going to whoop him, okay? It's going to be one of the big matchups of the week. Everybody's be paying attention to it, but I think you're spot on, Boone. Ben Johnson, he's not going to be able to just walk into Detroit and be like, you know what, I used to coach here, I'm going to win. It's like, no, there's great head coaches that are coming in Detroit, Sean McVay, one of them, and still can't pull it out. So Caleb Williams, week 2 in the NFL season, that environment with all the new pieces they added in the offense, they're going to be having figured themselves out offensively even more than the Detroit Lions are. So Bears, again, could be a cute year for them as far as the story goes, but are they a legitimate threat to the Lions this year? No. Nope. Definitely won't be week 2 either.
Cute story. I
listen,
fellas.
0.0, boys.
Well,
shut off flannel.
You guys know how this is, man. I've been pro Ben Johnson. This is one of those situations. It's Ben Johnson, Jimmy Johnson, Joe Johnson. Lions by 3.
Okay. I'm not gonna lie. You had me worried a little bit. No, I genuinely was like, "Oh no, don't do this."
I would even say Lions by 7. I think they win this thing by more than probably maybe even 10. I think it's because week 1, you got to think. Like, I made this argument for the Bears. It's week 2 for a new team with new offensive line. You know what I mean? They're gonna have to figure some shit out just to start the first couple weeks. I don't.
Jonah Jackson's return.
Yeah, I should have said Jonah Jackson. Jonah Jackson, Michael Jackson. It's Lions by 6.
Jonah Jackson's return.
They start 2-0, and we all agree there. But
DeAndre Swift's return too. Wow, that's a Lions homecoming. Ben Johnson, DeAndre Swift, Antoine Randall. Oh my gosh, what a return! And it's tough that they got to lose too, man. I hate to do it to them.
Yeah.
Traitors, cowards.
Yeah, how many DeAndre Swift return games? I mean, it's going to be every year. It's like
What did he do
DeAndre
last year in
return.
Detroit? I don't remember.
Remember the Eberflus situation at the
I
end?
think he
Oh my
actually had a good
gosh.
game catching the rock
Did
on the
he?
back.
Yeah, he didn't run the
Shout
ball.
out Matt Eberflus too. That guy. Dude.
Bruce, 419 legend.
4-9. Yep. Well,
At
week
least
three,
hey, I respect him for admitting, hey boys.
yeah.
The guy, if people don't know, the guy came up to us at the combine talking to him for a little bit. He said, I bet you boys were happy I didn't call a timeout, huh?
Yeah.
Very happy.
Cool guy. Well, Pennywise, thank you for the $2. He says, what kind of nail polish does Caleb wear week 2?
Probably like sparkly blue, if I had to guess. Probably have the eyeliner and eyeshadow to go with it.
Ben Johnson might just pick it out for him. It might be in his office.
Well, AG's burner says Bear Johnson. Better pack some soy sauce, lean, and icy hot for that one. That's a weird combination of items. But
The
yeah,
trifecta: soy sauce with lean and icy hot.
that's
Stomach's
insane.
gonna be absolutely swirling. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
that's insane. But and then you move to week 3, they face the Baltimore Ravens, and I'm just gonna be very honest with you, fellas. I have them losing this game. They're on the road.
What?
Yes, they are on the road in Baltimore. I just think there's certain matchups that just cause problems for certain teams. And in my opinion, in the regular season, week 3, you have new coordinators. I think this is that game where Lamar Jackson, as hard as it is to defend him, you know how the Lions are with running quarterbacks, not just them, but most teams with quarterbacks like Lamar Jackson. I mean, it's just a fact. I think he's going to cause problems. I don't think they get blown out like the last matchup, but I think with Derrick Henry, Lamar, they're gonna find a way to win this game. I think it'll be a battle, but I'm giving the win to the Ravens. I think the Lions start 2-1 here.
Yeah, I think if I'm being honest, and I think this is going to be such a close game to where if this game was played in Ford Field, I think the Lions would win. Like that's how I feel about this Ravens game, because I understand like what we saw a couple years ago, and I think there's going to be a lot of Lions fans, not even that, national media and like Ravens fans that look back at that game, that Ravens game, and they're going to sit there and go, hey, do you remember what they did to them last time in Baltimore? Like that's not going to happen again. This is a different football team. All these guys are that much older. They've added a lot of pieces. So this Lions team's different. And I know they have Derrick Henry. This is going to turn into a running fest, in my opinion. Derrick Henry, Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery. And there are going to be plays made by some other weapons. But I think when it comes down to it, this is going to be a one-possession game. Whoever has the ball last wins it. I'm just imagining right now in Baltimore, Lamar Jackson having the ball last. I don't know who their field goal kicker is anymore, and them winning by a field goal. So maybe there's a chance that they miss a field goal and you win. But this will be my first loss. And I don't think it's a bad thing either. I think it's just one of those like, hey, this is a tough battle. Like if we play them in the Super Bowl, you can beat them because you proved you can play with them, right? Like you're on that level now. It's not like 2 years ago anymore. But I just think it is a tough game. First mobile quarterback of the year, and Lamar, who's should have won MVP most likely last year. It's a tough matchup.
Yeah, I'm going to loss, boys. I don't think it's a blowout, but looking at the remaining of the schedule, I think this will be the loss where the Lions lose by the most points. I just think when you look at it, Lamar Jackson just naturally is a perfect game plan for a player like Aiden Hutchinson, especially when you have Derrick Henry, because they say we don't even need to block Aiden Hutchinson. Let Aiden Hutchinson do what he wants to do, and we'll go off of him when you have a quarterback like Lamar Jackson who can keep it. And now he's on the second level with players like Jack Campbell and Alex Anzalone, who normally look amazing. But Lamar Jackson, no matter who you are, is going to make you look stupid, especially in Baltimore. So I think the Ravens win, maybe by touchdown, maybe by 10 points. But I know it seems like a lot, but this will be one of those games where the Lions have to take a punch, get back up, dust themselves off. You're going back to home against Cleveland the next week. But I think if you're asking me, especially the fact that it's week 3, wouldn't be as much if it's later on in the season. Week 3, I think the Lions lose by at least a touchdown, and that'll be probably one of the only games where that's the case.
Yep. Early, you got to think, and I still, it's something I've been talking about. And we talked about it yesterday, Boone, and we were kind of all on the same page. I think early, you're going to see some wrinkles. It happens with new coordinators. So I think this is the game, we all agree, where it's going to be just tough. Again, it's going to be tough. You face them in the Super Bowl. It's tough to beat the team twice. So, by that time, you'll have things figured out. But week 3, I think it won't be less. I get it. They've already were a part of the staff, but 2 new play callers. I think it'll just this early loss here. So they start 2-1.
Tell you what, though.
Yep, go on.
If they win that Ravens game, you're sitting there going, okay, this team, and I know it's early to say it, but like if they win this Ravens game and that defense finds a way to, I mean, you're not going to fully control Lamar, but to maybe shut Derek down. And this run defense, like that's why I think they have a chance to win the game is the run defense that they have when it comes to running backs. They've stopped many elite running backs. If they find a way to win this game and go on the road and start off 3-0, you're sitting there going, okay, maybe this Lions team is like, again, it's a long season, a lot of tough teams. But if you win this Ravens game, hey, this is a legit football team again. Like you're right there. And
that's a huge confidence boost. I mean, you beat the Ravens on the road.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a huge.
Because you have 6 or 7 elite teams you play. If you get one of those wins out right away, first one, you're going. You feel good.
Yeah, you do, and you start 3-0. Well, they have a lighter opponent in the same division the following week. We have them at 2-1 right now. They play the Cleveland Browns at home. Don't even know who's going to start. Probably will be Joe Flacco at this point. If it's Shedeur for storyline purposes, that'll be a lot of fun.
Not for you, pal.
We want to tune into that watch party, but regardless, Joe Flacco at Ford Field. I'm giving the Lions a win here. I think this is the game to me where they lose to the Ravens in a pretty close game, and then they take out all their anger on the Browns the following week. Like I think this is like
home
a 17-point victory, something like that. Like 14, 17-point victory. They obviously have pieces defensively. I don't think they score 40, 50 points, but I can see like a 27-13 win. I can see something like that in this game.
I don't have much to say. I don't know if Klotz you either. I mean, I feel like this is just all across the board should be a win, in my opinion.
Oh, it's a win, fellas. But I'm gonna lay down a bold prediction, okay? Because we said it so many times last year. Booner, you did it. But week 4, coming off a tough loss, that will be the first career interception of Terrion Arnold. Joe Flacco is going to be trying to throw the ball down the field. Mark it down now.
Arnold, we're going to do this all year again.
Week 4, Boone. No, not all year.
I can't with you guys. Listen,
you won't have to deal with it for the first 3 weeks, Boone, because week 4 is when it's going to happen against the Cleveland Browns.
So we get one game, Boone.
You can have one game. If people are new to our show and we're just watching right now, last season, probably starting like week 1 or week 2, every single Lions game day we had with our pregame watch parties and post games, these guys every single week just call out Terrion Arnold picked. This is the week, 17 straight weeks, and that's not an exaggeration. Every single week, and he doesn't get one. And I was like, okay, maybe next year they'll pick and choose. It's May 14th, and there's already a call out for a Terrion interception on a certain game. I'm with Shift God too. Like it needs to happen. I think Terrion's going to get a couple this year, 2 or 3. I just can't be that. I can't do it for 17 straight weeks again. And the fact it's happening in May already is going to make me go crazy.
You're going to hate it week 4 then, Bone. Week 1, 2, and 3, you won't hear a peep. Week 4?
Every single week, man.
We might run it back.
Yeah, whatever.
17 picks for Terrion.
Did you guys see Kirby on the Rich Eisen show?
No.
A couple. I didn't see the full segment, but I saw.
They asked him. Rich said, "What quarterbacks this next year do you want to pick up? Like get an interception on this year? Like when you look at the schedule." And they pulled it. He goes, "Can you guys pull up the opponents?" He pulls up the opponents. And he starts looking at it and starts naming them. And then he goes, "Wait a second." He's like, "How many games do we have?" It was 17. 17. All 17 quarterbacks. And he's like, he break the record. All 7. And he goes, and there's going to be a couple multi-game interceptions in there. I was just like, I love it, dude. That was funny, man. Rich Eisen was dying. He was like, I love you, Kirby, man.
That's the confidence
he loves Kirby.
You see that Rich is going back to ESPN too?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw he's going to be like doing like his show is going to be on ESPN Plus, I think it is. And Disney Plus. I think it's that's where his show will be.
Hey, I see Dark Flame says Brian Branch pick 6 in week 1 just for Grossi.
Love that.
Oh,
give
that'd
the
be
birds again after the game.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
That's a big game for him because he got ejected like right away last year, which I watched it back and posted it today. Yeah. That might have been the worst ejection, not just in the NFL history, but like football history.
Yeah. All right, let's keep it moving. So we have the Lions 2-1.
Yep.
Then now 3-1 because
Yep.
we have them beating the Browns. So 3-1 heading into Cincinnati on the road at Cincy. What are we thinking, fellas?
Boone.
You guys want me to go first?
I'll
Yeah.
go first. I'll go first.
Go ahead. You've been going first this whole. Let's just keep the order the same here.
All right, so I have the Lions beating the Bengals. I think this game, to me, I could see this game being like a 33-30 type of game. I think this could be a high-scoring game. Not can be. I think it will be. I think Cincy's defense is so bad. John Morton's going to be cooking with grease against these dudes. But then when you look at the defense, Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Jamar, they're going to put up 27, 30 points. I think it's close. In a shootout, I have the Lions edging them out, beating them.
Boone.
This is one of the games I had. I told Jeff before the show, there was 3 games that I couldn't figure out. This is one of them. And I still haven't decided whether or not, and I'm going to do it on the spot here. The one thing that makes me think about this game is that Bengals defense. That I don't know if Trey Hendrickson's going to be playing. I'm going to go as if Trey Hendrickson's sitting out or he's traded at this point. And how many times have we seen the Lions give up like 600 yards and win a game? That's how I feel about this Bengals game. So I'm going to go a Bengals win.
Wow, Lions out.
Lions win. Lions win. Sorry.
okay.
Lions win. That really threw me off. A Detroit Lions win.
All right.
I'm surprised. Fellas, we thought Cincinnati's defensive situation last year was bad. It's going to be even worse this year, whether Trey Hendrickson is out there or not. This is going to be a game where Jahmyr Gibbs goes crazy. David Montgomery goes crazy. The Lions are eating up the clock. And when Joe Burrow gets on the field, he's going to be doing Joe Burrow things, but there's just not going to be enough time. I think this will be a game where the Lions, again, they took a tough loss to Baltimore, but like 2 weeks ago, according to the schedule. The Lions are going to be locked in. And you see after the Lions take a loss, they usually go on runs. Lions, I think, not going to be handled completely fine with the Bengals. They're still an explosive offense, but the Lions, I think, will be in control for most of that game and walk out of there with the W.
I like it. Yeah, the Bengals, that defense, man, I want to say it'll be Bengals Ravens of last year, but I don't even think the Lions, they're not that bad of a defense, where they'll give up. So I'm trying to figure that out. If Aiden's getting loose in this game and Joe just is getting suffocated, I could see it being a little different, but I'm still going to lean shootout. I'll say Lions win. So we all have Lions winning this one. So what are they now? 4-1.
Yeah.
4-1 heading into Kansas City to face the Chiefs. Sunday Night Football against the Chiefs. This one, boys, is the sneaky one. I have a loss here. I have a loss to the Chiefs. I just think they beat the Chiefs week 1 of not last year, but the year prior to that, right?
Yep, 2 years ago. Yep.
2 years ago. I have them losing this game. I think it's going to come down. The Chiefs are going to get back. They have their weapons, and they're getting back Rashee Rice. Their defense is always good. I think this is going to be I don't think it's going to be Chiefs by 10, 14. But I think the Chiefs, again, kind of like what you said, Boone, about the Ravens game, I think it's going to be that type of game where it's, fourth quarter, close game. Mahomes does Mahomes things, and they kind of get revenge for that week 1 game 2 years ago. So I have them losing on the road here to the Chiefs.
Okay. I disagree. I don't see a world, and okay, let's do this again, boys. You see those columns there, those 3 columns?
Yeah.
You see that first column? Take the Bengals, Bears, Browns, and Packers out. I think you have 2 Super Bowl contenders in that column. Or let's say, I would say Super Bowl because the Ravens haven't won and they keep struggling. But I'll say championship contenders, right?
Yeah.
I think there's a 0% chance. I think it's a little disrespectful in my opinion, and I get it with the coordinators and stuff. This Lions team is right on those guys' level. They're a top 5 team as well in the NFL. So these teams are looking at playing the Lions going, oh, we got to play a top 5 team. I don't see a world where they start versus 2 in that column. You look at that column alone, the 2 Super Bowl teams they play in that column where they just go 0-2. I think they split with them. And if I'm going to go Ravens loss, which I think if you had to say who can the Lions beat, the Ravens or the Chiefs, I know it's Andy Reid. We know like the Travis Kelce thing, like he's slowing down a lot. They lost a lot on that offensive line, as the chat's saying here. Rashee Rice, you kind of out for a whole season, coming back from a major injury. Not sure what he's going to be. Obviously, we know what the defense and Spags is going to be. Dan Campbell knows what it takes to go into Arrowhead and win. Like he's shown it already. Like he knows. And like these guys are going to be ready in prime time. Amon-Ra's been there. Panay's been there. Hutch has been there. Brian Branch had a pick 6 in the biggest game of the year, his first career NFL game. I think the Lions take care of business in this Chiefs game. I think it's going to be a really good one. Again, this might be one of those one possessions games. But I think coming out of the first 6 games, you have 2 elite teams you play. I think they end up splitting with those 2 teams going 1-1. I have them winning it, and I have them starting 6-1 here. Or no, 5-1 here in the season.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a close game. It's going to be a one-score game. But I think the better coach team is going to win. I think that's going to be, at the end of the day, what decides this game. It's going to be close. It's a primetime game, big moment. Steve Spagnuolo, Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, all those boys have been there before. When the Lions played them again the first time, we got to remember, no Travis Kelce, no Chris Jones. I know that Travis Kelce's not what he is anymore, but Chris Jones is still at a very high level. You brought it Rashee Rice. And I just think this Chiefs team, again, they're going to have something to prove after losing that Super Bowl. They're going to want to get back there. They know the noise of, hey, Lions came into Arrowhead week 1 during your banner night and spoiled it. So Patrick Mahomes is going to remember that. Going to be a close game. Kind of what you guys thought about Lamar, final drive. That'll be the sealer. I think it's the same situation just with the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes there. But I got the Lions losing a close game on primetime against the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Can I ask you guys this? I know we're going to go through the whole schedule here. We got a lot of time.
Yeah. Go on.
Are you guys going to have them losing every game versus a Super Bowl contender just because of the coaching staff? Like realistically, I'm just saying realistically, like they're going to win some of these games. I think it's a little disrespectful if we're just going to continue. And I know we're not through the whole thing. I'm just like, that seems to be the common factor.
Because the thing is, they're going to beat good teams too, but they're not going to go undefeated against good teams.
Agreed. That's why they,
that's why I'm looking at this.
We played 2 contenders, and you guys have them 0-2 versus the 2 contenders.
Those are 2 of the best teams in the AFC, not named the Buffalo Bills, with 2 mobile quarterbacks.
So do you guys not think the Lions, though, are Super Bowl contenders?
They are, but those are teams that will cause them problems based on personnel.
Agreed, but we're just going to automatically give them a loss for everyone just because of that? They're going to find a way to win one of them.
We're talking about Lamar Jackson, who doesn't matter who's on defense. It doesn't matter. He's better than everybody else out there, and the greatest quarterback and head coach in the NFL right now. And the Lions are still going to be very good.
I think it's just an automatic,
like if these were the games last year, like you could very easily have said, hey, the Lions might split here. They might go 0-2. And the Lions are not the same team that they were last year. And I think they took a step back. Might have not been much. You're talking about the Baltimore Ravens and the Kansas City Chiefs.
I understand. I can see the teams there.
So then I don't get. So then what are we talking?
I just don't understand where it's like. At what point, like, are we just going to continue to just like be automatic losses because they are the Kansas City Chiefs and the Baltimore Ravens?
Because when we get to the end, you're going to see our final record and be like, "That's fair."
No, that's why I'm just asking it now. I'm just saying now. That's not pushback.
If you want, because I didn't. I mean, there's more reasons. I mean, I can say, well, you're going to have 2. You're going to have a rookie and a second year. Well, I would say. Pretty much, I mean, based on starts, are 2 rookie guards. You know what I mean? Against Chris Jones. We can bring that up too. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, that's like every game.
But you're dismissing that. Like Chris Jones against Tate Ratledge, like that you can say like that would be, unless you think Tate Ratledge just dominates Chris Jones. You know what I mean? Or Frank Reich.
No, but like, I do think like there are going to be Super Bowl contenders you play, and like you can't just have the Lions going 0-4 versus them. It's like they're going to probably split with these contenders at the end of the day. Do
we agree that the Lions will look throughout the entire season? They're going to look better later.
Yes, but I do. Okay, yes, but again, that's the same with every team in the NFL. At the end of the day, obviously there are some that are going to be good all year. But I do think like even early on, like it dismisses the team a little bit. Of like, hey, first 8 games they play a couple contenders, they're just going to lose to them automatically because it's like, no, like, I almost want to put a pizza bet out with you guys that they're going to win one of those games.
mean, you can't. We got them 4-2.
I know. I know. It's just the contending teams. It's like just automatic. Oh, Lions can't beat that team. That team's too good. It's like, no, the Lions are a top 3 team in the NFL.
It's what it is it's 2 really good teams, and I'm giving the edge to the
All right.
home team.
Let's do the next games. Let's do the next section here.
The Bucks.
All right. Next game, they play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Mm-hmm.
This game is at home, Monday Night Football. What are we thinking? Because for me, I think this is a win. I think they beat the Bucs. They get revenge from last year. And I look at this game, especially because it's at home too. It is kind of a repeat of last year, and Hutch had 4.5 sacks in that game. I just think they're going to come back and be like, we got to get these boys. We got to get revenge. You know what I mean? For that game we dropped early in the year. So I'm going to go win here for the Lions to push them to 5.
Yeah. I'm going to say a win as well. It's on the road. Oh, no, it's at home. Yeah, I'm going to say a win. Monday Night Football in Ford Field. Prime time. Give me a win versus the Bucs. I wrote them down for a win over here.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge game, too, especially if they lose to Kansas City like me and Jeff thought that they were going to. You're going to be looking at a situation where Tampa Bay is going to be most likely winning the NFC South. They're going to be a top 4 seed in the NFC. So one to get a win against them is huge. But then you're looking at a situation where you can be 5-2 or you can be 4-3. And again, you got a lot of hard games coming up. So it's not a must win, the Tampa Bay game. But if you drop a game against the Chiefs, the Ravens, if you drop both of them, that game's going to have a huge outcome because now you're going to get into the NFC type of teams, not the Chiefs and the Ravens. So this game's big for the Lions. I would say this is probably, outside of the division, of course, a top three game as far as importance throughout the whole season.
And then you get the bye week.
Yeah.
Which the bye week at week 8 is amazing. Gosh, love a week 8 bye week.
5.
This is awesome.
Beautiful.
And
Perfect
then they
timing too.
Come out of the bye week and they face the Minnesota Vikings. And this game is at Ford Field.
Yeah.
It's at home. It's on Fox. I think this is a win. Like, I think it does. This is the first time they play J.J. McCarthy off a bye week. Yeah. J.J. McCarthy, I think, throws 2 picks in this game. And Aiden Hutchinson sacks is the former Wolverine. So I like 2 picks. Terran Arnold has 2. No, I'm just kidding. No, I
can't do this. I can't do that.
No, give me the Lions to beat them. I think they win this game by probably 7 to 10 points. I think they. Yeah. I don't think it's a field goal type of game, but I have the Lions winning this one.
Yeah, I'm just gonna take the win. I think it's gonna be a good game. It's week 9, so JJ is gonna be into his career a little bit. So I'm gonna take the Vikings.
Justin Jefferson's gonna have 150 yards. TJ Hawkinson might have 5 or 6 catches, but the Lions are gonna win by at least a touchdown, in my opinion. Coming off a bye week, really intense game going against the Buccaneers, and you're going into it 5-2. Vibes are high. JJ McCarthy. Come on, Kevin O'Connell, respect them immensely. But Dan Campbell absolutely owns Kevin O'Connell, okay? It's not even a question. If you look at the last 6 matchups, the Lions have won 5 of them. So, yes, give me the Lions coming off a bye against the Vikings.
JJ, welcome.
Mobile quarterback, boys.
To the North.
Mobile quarterback.
Welcome to Detroit, all right? That's what he's going to find out. Ford Field. It's going to be buzzing after the bye week. And then I have them at 6-2 right now. So 6-2. What do you have in Boone at 7-1?
Yeah, I didn't realize. Yeah, 7-1. That's whoa. What a start to the year.
It's crazy. It's funny when you start to look and you're like, see, this is 7-1. Hey,
I made a switch. I made a switch.
At all, Boone. No struggle at all. 7-1.
Originally, I had them 6-2, but I made a last-minute switch with the Bengals. I was like, "There's no way the Lions lose that game with that defense," so I had to make a switch at the end. Now I'm sitting here at 7-1. Couple games later.
7-1, Boone. They're coming out swinging with the new coordinators. I love it. All right, keep it pushing. Next game, rematch, Commanders.
The Durs.
425 game, but this is in Washington. So it's
American
not a
game of the week.
They go on the road. They go to Washington. They take on the Commanders. And I think they get revenge here. I think they beat the Commanders. I think it's going to be a battle this game, definitely. But again, we kind of factor in what Klotz you bring up too, is like, I got to see year 2 Jane Daniels too, man. So, CJ Stroud kind of dipped a little bit. I don't think Jane Daniels dips dramatically, but I think the Lions are going to look at that playoff loss and be like, this game, we're not losing. There's no way. So I'm giving.
Are you sure versus the mobile quarterback that you're going to allow them to win a game?
Well, yeah, because remember this is the week of listening. Remember we argued about it a couple days ago? It's not all about mobile quarterbacks, Boone. It just comes down to sometimes the matchups, the team, when you play them. Like now the Lions are getting buzz bye week. John Morton, Kelvin in the lab, figuring it out. Boom. They go 2-0 after the bye week. See, everything has a reason. There's a whole build-up storyline to this thing. All right.
I'm taking a win as well. I have them beating the Washington Commanders. I have them starting the season 8-1. I have them starting 8-1. How about that? What a start to the season for Johnny Moe and the Johnny Moe Show and Kelvin Shepard in that defense, huh? And Aiden Hutchinson, as you guys know, will be in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation. He'll be leading it at this point. I don't see a world where they go into Washington and they lose that game. I don't. Like, they want their lick back at the end of the day. That's what they want. Like, they want it. And typically teams in the NFL, I know it's crazy, but like, though that mindset, like, especially with the team that has the talent, they're going to win this football game one way or another. Like, Dan Campbell will have this team ready to go in Washington. They're not losing that football game.
My answer will be very simple, boys. Boone, I'm going to ask you a question, and you just got to give the answer, and it'll sum up the whole game. Booner, who is the Washington Commanders starting strong safety?
Oh, Will Harris.
That's all. Leave it there.
I rest my case.
Revenge, Will Harris. That's all I need to know.
All right. Yeah, I can't wait for this game. That's going to be amazing. This matchup here, playoff matchup. Yeah, they'll be healthier. They're going to open up a can of whoop ass. Won't be a blowout, but those Commanders fans that came to the channel and trolled us, we deserved it.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Now we get our lick back. It's regular season though, but regardless, then they move on. They stay in the NFC East and they take on the Eagles. Another road game. So they go from Washington, they go to Philly for Sunday Night Football against the Eagles.
Let me guess, Jeff. Another Super Bowl contender. You're going to have them go 0-3 to start the year versus Super Bowl contenders.
I have them losing this game.
Oh, wow. I could have figured. So you have them probably losing the Super Bowl.
You don't consider the Commanders a contender?
Yeah, I was going to say, what?
Super Bowl. I think Commanders are up there.
Commanders are right up there.
I'm talking. I'm talking.
Championship game. What are we?
I think the Eagles and Commanders are different levels, in my opinion.
I think the Eagles are a different level than every other team. Like, I don't think the Commanders are that far off of the Ravens. They're not that far off of the Bills.
No, they're not, but they're not on that level just yet. Like, would you have said the Texans after last year, which is instantly Super Bowl contenders after the year they had?
They weren't in the AFC Championship game, though.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 7 teams ahead of the Commanders to win a Super Bowl.
The Commanders and the Lions are on
you guys,
a similar tier in the NFC.
The Lions play the Eagles, who are the first team, the Ravens, who are the second favorite, and the Chiefs, who are the fourth favorite to win it. Okay. And you guys have them losing to all 3 of the top Super Bowl.
Boone, these are all games that are prime time on the road. Even the Commanders game that we gave them grace and saying that
I'm just saying you guys are the top teams in the Super Bowl contenders that they're going to have to win to go beat a Super Bowl. You guys are just automatically saying 0-3.
Boone, you're acting like this.
At least let them go 1 and at least they're going to like this team. My point. You guys aren't listening to my point. This is a good football team. This Lions team. Yeah, they're not going to go 0-3. They're going to at least win 1 game versus one of these Super Bowl contenders. They're not going to go 0-3.
So would you rather me say they're going to lose to the Bears week 2?
No, but like, listen.
Then what are we doing?
They're not gonna like. I think it's disrespectful at the end of the day. Like, dude, automatically, I get what you're like. That's irrelevant, Klotz. Like, you're just trying to prove a point. Like, Booner, you're slappy. Don't be one of those guys who say it's slappy. This is a real conversation about their 3 Super Bowl contenders. Just automatically, they're 0-3 versus them. Like a Lions team who's also 5th in the NFL in Super Bowl odds aren't going to win a game versus one of these Super Bowl contenders. Not one.
Boone,
They're not going to compete and win one.
And you even said it's the regular season. Like
I know, but
not compete.
They're not going to compete and win one of those games. You don't think Dan Campbell's going to pull out?
Compete.
You don't think Dan Campbell's going to pull out one of those wins?
They're gonna be walking out of those games in body bags. Okay, Jalen Hurts is gonna have 200 rushing yards. Lamar Jackson
you don't
have
think
300.
They're going to win
Mahomes
one of those
have
games?
400 total yards. They're gonna go 3-0 and not lose a damn game.
I'm not doing this.
No.
Klotz, you're being
saying.
sarcastic. You're trying to be funny. I'm not laughing.
No, Boone, give me your result.
I'm trying to have a conversation here.
Give me your
So
result.
am I, but you're like,
I think they lose to the Eagles.
Like, I don't care.
I just can't get over the fact that you guys have them going 0-3 versus all of the top Super Bowl teams. They're going to lose some of them, but they're going to pull out one of those wins. Like the fact that you guys are just saying they're not going to beat a Super Bowl contending team this year, that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous at the end of the day.
You don't classify the Commanders as being a Super Bowl contender for whatever reason. You don't. I do. I think they beat the Commanders.
Again, Klotz,
No.
You didn't hear. I'm talking about the teams that are favored. 3 of the top 4 teams that are favored to win the Super Bowl they play, and you guys have them not winning one of those games.
You have one more win than we do.
That's my point. It's just Dan
like,
Campbell and them are going to pull off one of those. They're going to find a way to win one of them.
You have them losing 2 of the 3.
I have them winning
No, you
one,
don't
though.
believe in them either.
I have them winning one.
You're arguing over one fucking win?
Yes, because they're a Super Bowl contending team. Usually, in my mind, and I would ask the chat this. This is real too. If you think they're going to win a Super Bowl, and when they go and play Super Bowl teams, 3 of the top 4 teams that are favored to win it all, and they go 0-3, I would have to say that they're not Super Bowl contenders if they can't win one of those 3 games. They at least win one. But if you can't win,
what are we doing?
You're not listening. You're trying to get me on a quick one. Just hear my point, Jeff. Can we calm down a second? I'm just saying when you play a Super Bowl contending team, if you want to be in that conversation, you have to at least beat one. You can't play 3 of them and just lose to every single one and then be if you guys have them losing all 3, I really don't want to hear you guys for the next 4 months say that the Lions are Super Bowl contenders because you don't truly believe it.
They lost.
You don't believe it.
They lost to the Bills, and you still believe they can win a Super Bowl.
Jeff, I'm talking about that last year they still beat some teams. They beat the Rams. They had a bad schedule. But I'm saying this year, if you really think they have an opportunity to win a Super Bowl and to beat some of these teams, they play 3 of the top 4. 3 of the top 4. If they don't win one of those, they are not Super Bowl contenders. They're not. Point blank.
I look
That's
at it
point blank.
because
if you can't play with them and you can't beat them, you're not going to in January and February.
That's your opinion. I don't.
You have 3 chances to do it. Do it one time.
I think if it depending on the result of the games, especially because what are we talking about? So all of them are on the road. It's a good opponent. You're a really good opponent. It's 2 good teams. I think I'm giving the edge to the Eagles who just won the Super Bowl. And you are too. So now, if you want to argue about the Chiefs, in my opinion,
but
we can go back and forth. I get what you're saying, but Boone, I think if you had them 3-0 and I had them 0-3, we can get into it this crazy debate.
My point is,
compared to
is every single Super Bowl contender, the top 3 of the top 4 you guys have, you have the edge to that team. Yes, because it's on the road. As a Super Bowl contender, you should, again, and we'll stop it here because it's just going to keep going in circles. If you're a legit Super Bowl contender in the NFL and the National Football League, and you play 3 of the top 4 in the regular season, you should beat one. If you go 0-3, you guys called the Vikings frauds. You guys called different teams frauds for losing those games in the regular season. That's what that is. And it's let's be consistent with it. If you guys are going to call them to lose all 3 of those games,
because I think early.
So then you don't think they're Super Bowl contenders?
No, you're putting words in my mouth. I'm consistent because what do I say? You disagree, obviously, based on your schedule, but I think they struggle early with new coordinators. Okay? You don't think they do. I do. So I have 2 losses early. How is that not consistent?
I'm with John effing Lord. I would like the chat. I would like the chat. I would like the chat to hold responsibility. Listen, I know I get a lot of flack in the chat. I would like one time I'm asking the chat to hold responsibility when things change here.
I just gave you a point and you disregarded it and went to the chat.
I was reading the chat, dude. I'm sorry. I like the chat. I like the chat. I heard your point.
No,
I just like your chat. I like the chat.
I came at me for not listening. Didn't even acknowledge.
I listened. Again, we can agree to disagree on it, but
we'll just agree to disagree because you didn't even acknowledge. I just explained why I was consistent, and you did completely.
I understand your point, but listen, I heard your point. At the end of the day,
yeah.
You're not even hearing mine either. 0-3 versus.
You go de facto. Now you guys think this team is not capable of winning a Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's what you said. I mean, it's and I explained.
I'm not saying fully, but I just don't believe you actually hear me. If you actually believe that this team can win a Super Bowl, they're just not going to go 0-3 versus the top 3 teams they play. To me, if you go 0-3 versus those top 3 teams, you're a fraud. You turn into a fraud.
It just lines up that way because I think they struggle early in the year. So I just do.
We're talking about week 11.
I'm talking about you're still upset about Ravens Chiefs. I'm telling you about those teams. You literally agree with Philly. So why are we talking about Philly?
I'm just those 3 teams are the 3 that I'm talking about.
Against the Commanders,
and the Commanders, I think they beat. Well,
I just think again, with Klotz, you keep bringing the Commanders up. I took those out because of their 7th favorite to win. I'm talking about the 3 of the teams that are the top 4 in odds.
The Chiefs are 5th. I'm talking about 2 spots.
I'm looking right at it.
The NFC.
They're 4th in the NFL. You have the 1st team, the 2nd team, and the 4th team and odds to win the Super Bowl you're playing. You guys have them going 0-3.
So then 7th, just cancel them out. They're 3rd in the
NFC.
NFC.
But I'm just I'm just saying it cuts off after I'm just saying 3 of the top 4. Yes, 7, okay, but I'm talking about the teams that are favored. 2 of the top teams. You keep bringing the Commanders in. That's a null and void conversation with them. I'm talking about those 3 teams.
The team that
keep bringing up other things because you're not being able to argue those 3. You guys have no points about it.
Boone. We okay. Let's move on. We will be here all night.
Yeah, that's why I said a couple minutes ago. Agree or disagree. I'm stuck on my point here. I feel that way. Don't know what else to say.
All right,
you guys aren't going to budge. I'm not going to budge.
All right, week 12. They play the New York Giants. All right. I have them losing this. No, I'm just kidding. They can't beat. No, I'm just kidding. I won't do that. No, they're going to beat the Giants. They're better than the Giants. I don't even know who's going to be starting. Is it Russ, Jameis Winston, fucking Jackson Dart, whatever? They're going to beat the Giants. Probably blow out the Giants. So yeah,
right there is the one, boys.
If you don't beat the Giants, you're not a Super Bowl contender.
That's the one where they get one of their 50-point games.
Yeah, I was gonna say. There you go. Yeah, we agree. They're gonna beat the Giants. I think that defensive line's interesting. They got a lot of guys over there, but that's really the only thing I'm looking at, to be honest. Other than that, it's barbecue chicken, Klotz. So
it's a bounce back against the Giants. You beat up on an inferior team. Get right. Head into some divisional play, but they get a big W morale-wise against the G-Men.
All right, next game. Yeah, here we go. Versus Green Bay Thanksgiving.
Why'd you say here we go?
Because I have them losing.
I have them losing as well.
So they lose to Green Bay on Thanksgiving. I got to watch the last time they played the Green Bay on Thanksgiving and they lost. I for whatever reason, the Lions win in Lambeau and the Packers play really well at Ford Field. It's always pretty close. I think this is going to be one of those games. I think they split with the Packers. So if I'm going split, I don't think you can argue, well, they'll beat the Lions at home and the Lions will win at home. I'm going opposite. I think both teams win on the road. So give me the Packers here. That would be what would that be? I think we're at. I can't remember what I'm at.
I think you're at 8-4, maybe, or 9-3.
9-4, maybe, or whatever. I don't know. Whatever.
No, it would be 9-3 if you have 9. I have them losing to the Packers as well. Puts me at 9-3. I just think at one of these divisional games, you're going to drop. I think this year they dropped one or two of them. This is just one of those NFC North matchup. It's going to be close. It's going to be a battle. One team's it's guys know how these NFC North matchups work.
Well, I'm going with the W, boys. I think that this Packers team, they've thrown everything that they have consistently at the Lions. When they went into Ford Field last year, even with the Lions banged up, it was a close game. But I just think at this point, the Lions are so deep with how aggressive they are, and Green Bay can play aggressive against a lot of teams with Josh Jacobs, but it just doesn't work against the Detroit Lions. I know that Jordan Love came in there one time at Thanksgiving, probably because Hefe was in attendance and absolutely lit him up. That was his coming on scene to the NFL, or coming out party to the NFL. But I just think the Lions on Thanksgiving this year, they don't blow out the Packers, but I think they handle them. So I'm giving a W on Thanksgiving.
So they're sweeping the Pack.
I do have them sweeping the Pack. Yes, correct.
A team that you think will be second in the division?
No. What did I say last 2 weeks? It's the Vikings.
Okay. I'm just checking it. All right. Next game, they play the Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving. I already said that. On Thursday Night Football. Thursday Night Football, they take on Dallas at Ford Field. It's at home. And, this is one of those games. I think the Lions win this game. I think they beat the Cowboys. I know Dak will be back. They have a new head coach. But, I just don't see. After a loss to Green Bay, they're beating the Cowboys. So, give me the Lions here.
Yeah, I'm taking the Detroit Lions as well versus the Cowboys. I don't see a world at home. This is the first time. I don't know when the last time the Lions played the Cowboys at home. It's been a long time. It feels like every single time they get matched up for the regular season or even the playoffs, they're in Dallas. So you finally get a chance to play Dak and this Dallas team at home. I would have to think the crowd is ready to go and this Lions team's ready to go. I have to go a win here.
This is one of those ones, boys, as Boone said earlier. This will be the 50 bomb, in my opinion. They laid it on them last year, and it's going to happen again. In the secondary, they have nobody. They're not going to have a running game. George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb are cute, but when they're not on the field and you're just forced to throw the ball, good for yards, not good for points. I think the Lions blow out Dallas at home.
Well, they take on the Rams. Where are the Rams on Super Bowl odds? Boone?
They're not in the top 5. They're not in the list that I had.
Well,
I'm talking about top 5. They're behind the Lions, probably like 6th, 7th. They're right there with the Commanders, I believe.
All right. Well,
They're in that tier. I would have to go like there's the top tier 1, which is the top 5. They're tier 2, in my opinion.
All right. I have the Lions winning this game. I know this is the one I battled with. I was going to swap out one of my losses for them just because they've beat them so many times in a row. I just think at some point you're going to drop one of the Rams. Like, I guess that's a fair argument, but I'm going to go Lions here. Man. Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and give you a bunch of reasons. It's going to be a close game. It really is. But I think
the Lions just have the Rams number at the end of the day. Like, it's such a close game every time, and the Lions just consistently find a way to pull it off. I had the Lions winning this one as well. I think they beat the Rams again.
You boys know where I stand. I think the Rams are the best team coming out of the regular season, at least. For that's a lock. I think the Rams are the number 1 seed in the NFC. They're going to beat the Lions. This is going to be the best Rams team we've seen since they've won the Super Bowl. And you guys just said it. These games have been insanely close every time. At some point, the Rams are going to pick up a W. Adding Devontae Adams, seeing this defense, which was the youngest defense in the NFL last year, take another step. Rams are going to get him this year.
Yeah, I contemplated it. I'm going to give the Lions the win, though. All right, next game. They play the Steelers, 425 game. This is at home against the Steelers. I don't even know who's going to play quarterback. So that's probably the big thing. This could be Will Howard or it could be Aaron Rodgers.
Big pill Will.
So I don't know. That's kind of a confusing one. 2 different quarterbacks. Not that it matters. I'm still having the Lions win this one.
Yeah, I'm not going to say.
I think it's a lower scoring game. Yeah, but
maybe.
I'm going.
Yeah, the Lions win this game at home. It'll be a fun game. I feel like Mike Tomlin. It's always a good matchup, but the better team I feel like will end up winning that game.
Yeah, pull out the trick
Yeah.
plays for this game. You don't like, even if you mess up, you're not worried about A-Rod or Mason Rudolph marching down the field. I think this is a 7+ point win for the Lions without a doubt.
All right, next game. They play on Christmas against the Vikings. This is this is on the road in Minnesota on Christmas. I have the Lions winning. I think they sweep the Vikings again because it's JJ, Christmas, bright lights. He's got to throw the ball more than 14 times. It's going to be really interesting. So I'm gonna give the Lions the edge here. I think they sweep the Vikings.
What's that one Rick Ross song?
That doesn't really give much.
Trap. You know that song? Trap.
Yeah.
You think it's a trap game?
Trap game. Christmas Day game. Minds might not be all there. Shouldn't be. I just already played Thanksgiving a few weeks ago. Before that, I think this is just the one where you're on the road, players away from the family. I'm not mad if you take the loss. I'm sitting there like I'm on Christmas Day. Like I was thinking about it earlier today. It's like, hey, if you lose on Christmas, that sucks. Ruins Christmas Day. To be honest, if you're sitting there with already 10, 11 wins, all right, whatever. We'll move on. It's Christmas Day game. You're going to drop NFC North matchups. I have that as a loss.
I'm going with the dub here. It's going to be a close game. The game last year in Minnesota was close. I know they didn't have Hutch. Now they have Hutch. But I just think rookie quarterback J.J. McCarthy, and again, Dan Campbell just owns Kevin O'Connell regardless of the situation in Minnesota, in Detroit. I do think that the Minnesota Vikings are the closest competition for the Lions like they were last year. But what happened last year? The Lions swept the Vikings. So I think the Lions, they pick up that win in week 17.
Yeah, I agree with that. Last game of the year, it's in Chicago.
The Bears.
Facing the Bears. Ben Johnson at home to end the year. I think the Bears beat the Lions here. I think they have the whole season now gelling. You know, they remember that week 2 loss against the Lions. It's kind of the end of year game. You know, I mean, not that it doesn't matter, but I'm just saying, you know, the Bears are going to be really motivated for this one. So I think it's going to be a battle. But I have the Bears, and they're going to end up winning this game. So, because I have the line split with the Bears. So this is the way I'm doing it.
I just thought of something. There's a chance guys sit out, isn't there?
I don't think
so. Unless they have the number 1 seed or something. Or like, what about?
I'll take the Detroit Lions. If they're not sitting guys out, they're winning this game because that means seeding matters. And we saw Dan Campbell go to Green Bay a couple years ago, and just in the cold, they find a way to win because they needed a win to get in the playoffs. They're not going to need a win to get in the playoffs, but seeding matters. I think they win this game.
This one's tough. I hate the fucking Chicago Bears, but if there's just been a matchup that consistently doesn't matter how good or bad that gives the Lions issues, it's in Chicago when it's cold. We all know that if there's a climate where Jared Goff struggles, this offense struggles, it's in the cold in Chicago. I think it's just going to be a close game. Caleb Williams' mobility could cause a little bit of an issue. Chicago wins in a close one, but that's the only loss I have them getting in the NFC North. I'm sweeping the Packers, sweeping the Vikings, and splitting with the Bears. So they go 5-1 in the division. Lose last week in week 18.
How does that make any sense, by the way?
Well, do you believe that some matchups are just worse for some teams compared to the others?
I'm just saying, you have them sweeping everyone but the Bears, no way they could be.
What happened with Justin Fields in Chicago running for 200 yards? Every time they go to Chicago, it's just a bad game. And even me, who was low on the Bears, think this is the best Bears team we've seen in probably the last 5 to 6 years. And so they're eventually going to pick up a W against the Lions. I think week 18 in those conditions, that'll be the one.
So our final records, I have the Lions at 12-5. And 4 of the 5 losses are road games. That is how I have it.
Trying to think, did I have them?
So
I don't think I have them losing
5 losses are road games. I have them at 12-5.
All my losses are on. Or no, I have one home loss. Thanksgiving. I have.
My home loss is Green Bay. That's it.
Okay. Yeah, me too. We have the same
Thanksgiving.
home loss. Yeah. We have the same one.
Yeah, I don't have them losing at home. I have them 11-6, so I believe one game's under you guys. Boone, how many did you have, Boone? What was your record?
I'll go after you.
Yeah, I got them at 11-6, all losses on the road, all against contenders. And Boone doesn't like that, but I still have them winning against some really good teams and a contender as well. But I think the Lions, guys, like, again, Lions have been in such good spots. We saw them go 12-5, 15-2. I think it's fair to say over the last 3 years, the Lions, situationally wise, walking into this season, probably the lowest of the last 3 years, but they're still an 11-6 team. They went 12-5 when they went on the NFC Championship game run, looked phenomenal. This year they're 11-6 and could be in the exact same spot. I will agree, though, when you were talking about earlier as far as, like, you don't think they're Super Bowl contenders. I think over the last 3 years, this is the least confident I've been about them winning a Super Bowl. And it shows.
So that's where I completely disagree with you. I mean, all of these players got better. They've added more pieces. The coordinators is the only conversation you can have, but player-wise and team-wise, they're right there. Like, guys have gotten better. They're no longer rookies. They're no longer year ones. These are guys that are now turning into vets, playing the best football of their career. You've brought in better pieces now. So this team right now, like, this is a Super Bowl contending team. I have them at 13-4. It's a gauntlet of a schedule, and it's going to be a battle, but I think it's set up to where you're able to win some big games. I can't wrap my head, and I'm not going to get into this argument again with you guys, but I can't wrap my head around how we're going to sit here and have conversations about winning a Super Bowl, and Klotz is going to say they're a Super Bowl contender, but have them going 1-4 versus teams that are talked about to win a Super Bowl. So that's all. I mean, I took a picture of this and I favorited it, and the people will be held accountable next year, because last year when we did this, I believe people had them winning, and in our show 10-11 wins, and then when we got to the season they switched to 13-14 with me, hopped on my bandwagon, and then took credit for it. I'm not going to allow that to happen this year. You have your stakes, stick with them. I'm not allowing people from what happened last year to happen this year with you guys. I know exactly what happened last year.
List of accountability, Boone.
I know exactly what happened last year. I said they were going to win 14 games, and you guys were like 11, 12. Oh, 14 is way too much. And then when we got to the season, everyone's like, "Oh, they're going to get 14." Hey, I don't like. Hey, we're not flip flopping here. I don't own a beach store here. I don't have flip flops. Either they're Super Bowl contenders or they're not.
Yeah, I think I mean, I don't know. I have one less win, so I mean, if you want to take up.
Yeah, I'm not saying with you. It's really Klotz, the 11-6. This is the worst super team that they've had in the last 3 years, and they're 1-4 versus every contender. So
what's your record against contenders?
3-2. If we're talking about 5, if we're talking about the 5 Ravens, Chiefs, I will give you guys the Commanders. I'll throw the Rams in there so you guys have more, and the Eagles. I'm 3-2. You're 2-3, Jeff, and Klotz is 1-4. 1-4 to me is like that. Just like again, we right before we did the whole schedule situation, we brought up the teams that are frauds that win games but can't win the good games in their season. Those are frauds. That's exactly how that just went. Is you think they're frauds? Like, this is a fraudulent football team in your eyes, which is fine to me. I just that's what I said.
Yeah,
accountability will be held.
You got it, Boone. You
well,
got it.
When that's
Boone, you got it.
I don't. Plays out.
You nailed it. You nailed it, Boone.
Yeah, you got it. You're a little bit, Boone. You're just putting some words in mouths, and you've been doing that this show. Like, it's like, well, it's clear you're a contender. Like, no one said that, man. I mean, you can't just.
When we have I'm not going to argue. People don't like when I yell and argue.
Well, it's just that's the thing that I guess for me, it's like, I mean, no one's saying like they're not contenders, man.
Okay, I won't. Like, I won't say that. I just said, if you listen, I said at the beginning of the show we talked about how former teams in the past were frauds when they had good records, huh?
If you keep saying this listen shit, I'm gonna fucking go crazy. Like I don't listen ever. Like, I just repeted something you said, and then you said, if you listen when I just repeated something.
I'm saying frauds. I'm saying you're saying they're frauds, not contenders. Frauds and not contenders is different to me.
Boone, but did we not just have the conversation? And I literally said it. Any team that walks outside the NFC North this year, given the schedule, is not a fraudulent team. The schedule you have to go against, you are going to be battle tested. But
if you lose to every single one of them, essentially, are you really like you
let me
just
get
can't
this-
beat them? You're
so
not
let's
that good.
Get this straight. You are the highest on the Lions. Jeff is the middle, and I'm the lowest on the Lions in this year. And when you look at all the contenders that they have to go up against, it's in that order. So I don't understand what is so hard to wrap. You think the
You're-
Lions are going to be 13 wins, and you think they have a very large shot of winning the Super Bowl. Jeff has them at 12, probably a good chance, and I have them at 11. And I think they have a chance to win a Super Bowl, but it's not to the status of last year or the year before. The talent's the same.
Well, let's just move on from
I've been
this.
consistent on it. It has to do with coaching, not Dan Campbell, the coordinators. I do think that matters.
I'm not again. And Shift got saying, Booner, you're saying we're not going to. I'm not even. I have them doing 13 wins. I'm with Jeff too. Like there's one or two in here that I would switch to go 12. Like 12 and 13 is that number. I just think versus those contending teams, it's like, in my eyes, if you're a contending team and you're going 1-4, 1-5 versus other contenders, you're probably not a Super Bowl contender in my eyes. And we'll agree to disagree on that. But in my eyes, if you have them losing almost every single game to every contender you play, you probably shouldn't be talked about in the Super Bowl conversation. Like at the end of the year, if that actually happens, I will at the end of the season call them frauds myself. I'll stand on a stage if they are 0-6 versus every single contender or 0-5. I will stand on a stage and say this is a fraudulent football team. I will, because that's a fact if that happens. It won't happen because they're contenders as well. But that's my point. Like if you're going to have them going 1-4 versus these teams, let's not have that conversation every single week that we feel like they're Super Bowl contenders.
Well, let's bring in the doc. I want to see what Doc has the record at. This
real quick too. Shout out Justin Henry Malloy, Toledo Mud Hens legend, just walked the game off for the Tigers. Another win.
Hell yeah.
Another win. Bottom of the 9th. 6-5 Tigers final over the Red Sox.
By the way, shout out El Guapo. Thanks for the $2. Says if Shamar Stewart's sacks go off, I'm turning the TV off. All right.
Hey, I would.
I don't blame him. All right, let's bring in the publisher of Detroit Lions on Sports Illustrated. The absolute legend, seeing us bicker like freaking teenagers. Let's bring in the doc because I would love to get the doc's opinion on this schedule. Please welcome John Maakaron, aka the DOC. How we doing, Doc?
Listen, guys, I'm enjoying the week, enjoying some carrots.
Oh,
it's a great Wednesday. I want to let you guys know sometimes there are weeks that just click all over the place, and it's just great with the schedule. You guys are talking and debating. You guys are wild. I'm seeing some 13-14 win predictions. It's the best time of year. The site blew up. The YouTube is hot. A lot of action. I love it. I can't wait to hear what you guys think of my predictions. I have my own personal opinions about the schedule, and we'll talk about it, but I like the chances of the Lions getting over 10 wins.
Well, Doc, let's just start off. You saw the schedule, and the big thing we were kind of going back and forth about was the early schedule. I think the Lions with new coordinators struggle early. I mean, I guess their version of struggle, which is a winning record, but I don't think they have this hot start with new coordinators. And then they kind of pick it up as the season goes on. But you look at that kind of part of the schedule early on where they play some really good teams. When you look at that, look at the totality of it, how many games do you have them winning? And you can highlight maybe some games where you're a little like, ugh, that's a tough one. I'm going to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, no, I look at the schedule. First, let's start personally. Man, if you're a reporter, I am going to have to invest in some coffee. A lot of primetime games, a lot of games that are going to end late. So this schedule is not great on an older man, but I'm going to have to now get in shape over training camp. I got to get into my own training camp to cover this team with the schedule. I think only 6 1:00 games, Monday night, Thursday night, Sunday night. This team has earned the right to be in prime time. So personally, the schedule is brutal for the DOC because Thanksgiving and Christmas. Oh man, it's when I ran that by the wife, she just rolled her eyes and did her thing, and I have to pay up to get back in the good graces. So I'm out of the doghouse, but it cost me a pretty penny. But no, when I look at the schedule to start, I love the schedule to start. It's after the bye week. I got the Lions going 5-2 before the bye. I got them beating the Packers. I got them whooping the ass of the Bears. Benedict Johnson's going to come to Ford Field and get booed out of town.
Come on, Doc.
I see greatness. And then, of course, like everybody else, I think the Ravens game is going to be very challenging and got that being a loss. Then you come back and you whoop on the ass of the Browns. They're frauds. Hopefully Shadur plays so we can get some intrigue, maybe some ticket sales. But after that, maybe you take a loss to the Bengals. So there's a stretch there to start the year that's really tough. But I look at the opportunity to play in prime time against the Chiefs and Buccaneers as being opportunities to win. The stretch after the bye could present the big, and most people are going to look at that, and it's going to be the biggest challenge where you get the Vikings, Commanders, and Eagles. That's going to be the tough stretch after the bye week. And if you can be in that neighborhood of 6-2, 6-3, you'll be okay. Because then you start whooping ass again. Right around week 12, Giants, Packers, and Cowboys. You got to win those games. So overall, I got this team. Listen, I love those that are coming out with 13-4 and
Thanks, Doc.
12-5. That's a little bit beyond my ability to put that on paper. I got 11-6, reasonable for this football team to have some ups, have some downs, but an opportunity to win double-digit games. That closing stretch there with the opponents of the NFC North with the Vikings and the Bears, a little bit tough. I have that being a little bit of a challenge, but this schedule, guys, I listened to what Booner was saying. I agree. Once you go through it, I think it prepares you for a playoff run. If you get through the schedule 11, 12 wins, you're ready to go. You should be hopefully healthy and ready to perform in the postseason. I love the schedule professionally. Personally, when I saw that this morning, guys, there was nobody more down on earth that I was like, Jesus, man, I can't stay up this late. I'm going to be up till 2, 3 in the morning, half of the damn NFL season, and it's just a grind. And I'm going to go to a lot of these games. I definitely want to see Baltimore. I definitely want to see Joe Burrow, the Chiefs in primetime, the Eagles. My goodness, it's going to cost me a pretty penny this year, but it's going to be worth it because fans, get ready. It's going to be a fun-ass season. With that schedule, the way it's laid out, it laid out pretty good for the Lions.
Real quick, Doc, I don't know if I heard you. You said Baltimore. You said 5-2. I have them 5-2. Who's the other loss?
Let's see here.
I think it's at Cincinnati.
5-2.
Could be wrong.
No. Yeah, Bengals. I got at Bengals, week 5, 35-24 loss, 3-2.
All right.
Then they get back on the winning ways with wins against the Chiefs and the Buccaneers to get the 5-2
contender. Yeah, Doc, I want to ask you this because this was the kind of the big argument that we were having. And I'm kind of a two-part question, I guess, Doc. But you do look at the contending teams that they play, and this was kind of the pushback that I had with those guys or with Klotz, with the record he had versus them. That, let's say the Baltimore Ravens, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Eagles, the Commanders, and like the Rams, those 5 teams there. If they end up, and this is where I'm at with that, to where kind of going after the season, how they do in those games, what they would be able to do in the playoffs, and where this team's at. If they go 1-4 in that kind of stretch of football versus those teams, where's your confidence level if they can win a Super Bowl? Do you still think they're contenders? Because that was kind of the conversation we were having, to where I believe, hey, if they come out of that and those 5 teams and they go 1-4, it's hard to believe that they can go win a Super Bowl at that point. What are your thoughts on that?
No, it's a great early debate. Is those games against the tougher opponents, you want to play your best. And I think Dan Campbell will get the guys rising to the occasion. It's going to be those games against the quote unquote subpar teams like the Browns and things like that, the Giants, that maybe you sneak in an unexpected loss where they compete a little bit harder, they get up for you. So I do think that the Lions are prepared. You look, the one thing that I'm going to look for early in the year is the defense. How does the defense acclimate with some new pieces in Calvin Shepard's scheme? Because the offense, John Morton said he's not going to touch it all that much. It's pretty straightforward. Him and Dan Campbell are going to work together to make it so that this offense probably is going to get to, maybe the first quarter of the season starts off a little slower, but I expect this offense to average north of 28 points a year. My biggest concern will be the defense. How does it acclimate? You lose Carlton Davis. I want to see how DJ Reed looks. You definitely want to see how Tyrion Arnold, someone in this conversation had to feel the need, I believe, to post who Tyrion Arnold's going to go up against this year. My God, I was like, friends, do not let friends play cornerback, especially in the NFC North. My God, I saw that. I had to throw in a comment there to my guy. But I do think that the Lions will step up and play at a high level, and especially early on. Dan Campbell remembers when the Ravens not only outclassed them, they just made them look like they didn't belong on the field. That'll be another first early test. I can't wait to see it. That Baltimore game, everyone's telling me, yeah, go to Baltimore. And to the commenter in the comments, love you guys always. Yeah, no, if my wife will never let me go to a game on Christmas, but it's just I got to be attached to the computer. I'm going to watch it, cover it from home. I'm never going to get on a plane. Are you crazy? I want to open presents with my family, but after that, it's basically open the presents and then it's content galore, like you guys will know. But yeah, no, there's no way I'm going to be battling no airports or I choose family first. But I just got to write and content and videos and all that whole shebang. So basically, family will be over and I'll be sitting in the corner typing away, and that sucks, but it's okay. We'll figure it out how to manage covering an NFL team, because they know how happy it makes me, how excited I am working today and getting on with you guys, and then doing my own podcast after this and getting to all the comments and emails and everything like that. And then listen, I'm humble enough, because I don't think any content creators or beat writers will say it openly. Thank you to the leakers. Thank you to the crew that are out there posting what was going on. It allows guys like me to, because the sources definitely talk to me, but they're not giving me the schedule. They made that pretty clear. Thank you for the work that you did. You make my life easier, because if the schedule came out without me knowing who was on it, I would still be typing takeaways, odds, things that are content based. Without the leakers, it would be a nightmare on today. And you guys out there that are doing it, Lions Royalty is out there. Always want to give him credit. He appeared on my podcast one time, and I asked him how the hell he figured that out. Thank you to the leakers. You make our job easier, and it's very fun to be able to know the schedule by like 5 o'clock. It's amazing.
Hey, shout out to him, Doc. Shout out to him. And you mentioned
the leakers. Thank you.
You brought up the Browns. You brought up the Giants. Got to play the Steelers. Got to play some other teams that are not so great, Doc. Which one of those do you think will be the trap game? Because there's going to be games that some of us expect them to, they win and they lose, and they'll be expected to lose in some games and they end up winning. But what's one of those games you think it's a trap where, hey, eventually it's inevitable for every team pretty much?
Yeah, I mean, you could look at it. I have it as a win, but that Giants game looks interesting, right? What if Dart gets hot? You look at those young receivers. That could be a game where you're coming off, a stretch there. Let me look here real fast on what I got. You're coming off of a situation in which it is a tough game at the Eagles on Monday night, and then you got to follow that up against the Giants. Pay attention there, because those games that you look at and you say, all right, there's Sunday night, maybe just a little bit less preparation, but I don't see too many trap games. I just feel like I'm confident that the Lions are not going to lose a ton of back-to-back games. There's just some teams that you look at early on, maybe the Browns, you overlook them because the whole world, that game could be a 7 to 10 point. Lions opens up as a pretty hefty favorite for the Lions, probably one of the biggest opening odds of the year. But that Giants game screams to me like, Brian Daboll knows what the Lions are about. They've been to joint practices. You have a young quarterback. And so you maybe in a situation in which you play Sunday night, you ride high. If you get that win against the Eagles, you come in and you play the Giants. Everybody in the world, for the most part, it's going to predict you to win. So that little stretch there could be something to pay attention to. But I don't see trap games with Dan Campbell. You see week to week guys that they don't ride the emotional roller coaster. They definitely don't fall into the traps of listening to guys like me and the guys that dangle the carrots to talk about some interesting topics that are out there. They ride the wave pretty even keel, and that's what you see in this football team that hasn't lost back-to-back games in for nearly forever. So I'm excited, man. It's one of those teams where there's going to be storylines galore. It's going to be about seeing some development from some young guys, and I'm sure you guys were excited. John Morton came out there, and it was like on Tuesday, it was the Jameson Williams Love Fest. If that's true, if that's more than just PR, if he's in the books, if he's next level, if he's that guy, because that was one of my final questions at the end of the season was to Ben Johnson, to Benedict. I said, hey, how do you get JMO to Justin Jefferson level, like that kind of production? And he said he just got to have a full offseason. And he pretty much said if he has an offseason, does the work, puts his nose into the playbook and gets after it, sky's the limit. It could be a big year for Jameson Williams. If that's the case, now you're talking realistically this football team winning some playoff games. But that's where the fear comes in, is that, you know, if it does get tight, if we're all overhyping this Lions team and it's 9-10 wins and you end up going on the road, maybe against the Rams, you want to go up against the Rams in the playoffs, the Eagles, the Commanders. So getting as many wins as possible and as many home games, as much as it was critical last year, even more critical this year.
John, what does a breakout season for JMO even look like? Because John brought it up, like breakout season, and then you have Scotty Montgomery saying he's entering that next level. Like JMO's coming off 1,000 yards. I think it's 7 TDs. He didn't have obviously a ton of receptions, but in your mind, when you hear that, when you hear breakout, what does that look like to you? What would define as a breakout year for him?
Absolutely. In that conversation of being 1-1A with Amon-Ra St. Brown, a lot of primary targets, involved heavily in game planning, a difference maker consistently. So I'm looking at over 100 receptions, over maybe 1,300 yards and over 10 touchdowns. That's breakout. That's standard level WR1 type production. And if he can get to that level, that just makes everything easier for Jared Goff, makes everything easier for John Morton. It adds a level of explosiveness as well. If he can become that Justin Jefferson type where, hey, you have to take him away from the game and game plan for him, that just opens things up for 4 or 5 other guys and makes things so much easier, because you literally can't zone and double everybody. So with the amount of offensive weapons this team has, and then you can mix in a young rookie in the mix there too, my goodness, it's just it's exciting. That's the big thing that excites me, is that, yeah, the ticket prices are going to suck, but I do think on more occasions than not, you're going to get your money's worth in terms of entertainment value, and you're going to see a lot of touchdowns from this Detroit Lions team. So get ready. If that's the case, if JMO's ready to go, look out. This offense could be unstoppable.
Do you think, Doc, and I know you actually obviously you guys talked with John Morton just the other day. What was the takeaway after some of the comments he made talking about, hey, he's going to keep this offense basically essentially the exact same with his little twist to it? What are your thoughts on the confidence level now moving forward with John Morton in this offense after kind of sitting down the other day with him?
Yeah, no, that was 7 coaches that appeared in front of us. And
it's a long day.
Long day. And guess what? We hit the defense tomorrow. So same time, same situation. So the entire defensive staff will address the media, and it'll be fun to check in with a lot of the young players and what the coaching staff thinks of where the Lions are at defensively. But offensively, look, Morton is pretty smart. And Ben Johnson said it when he departed. He basically said, look, it's a Ferrari. It's ready to go. And you look at the pieces there, just simply put, look at the roster. Jahmyr Gibbs expected to take another step forward. I think John Morton is salivating to be excited to be a guy that has the opportunity to have all these weapons. Such a different opportunity than he had with the Jets, where the talent is there. And for those that just real fast say, do I doubt JMO? Well, there are plenty of mouths to feed. And sometimes, guys, you recognize that it's not like intentional. But if you keep JMO at a lower level, when you start to go to negotiate a contract, you go, hey, well, you're kind of earning, this many stats. It's kind of comparative and maybe in the $20 million range. If he starts getting into the Justin Jefferson class of production, which would be great, now you're talking in the 30, 35 million. You see what I'm saying here? So it's not done intentionally. The Lions are pretty good about that, but it's with so many weapons, it's just unimaginative that JMO could be like a superstar in terms of production. He'll be part of the mix, but there's just a lot of mouths to feed. And that's a great thing for John Morton, is that, look, back to basics, not too difficult. Foundation is run the ball. 3rd down and short, move the chains. Be aggressive at times, but wiser. Like Ben Johnson, I think, got too full of himself. And it kind of became clear in the postseason when you have Jameson Williams throwing the football when you're down 10. That game still could have been within reach if Ben Johnson didn't make that brutal Benedict type call that was costly. Jameson Williams throwing a pass was not in the in the Rolodex of what was needed in that game against the Commanders. So if John Morton can say, hey, 3rd down and 1, hey, let's maybe even use a fullback and get the first down. Let's pound the rock, move the chains. So let's do some things that are a little bit smarter than Ben did. Ben got a little bit too excitable there with the empty backfield sets and pass plays and things that were just kind of unusual there, trying to trick the defense. Look, John Morton has a plethora of weapons, and he's got a quarterback in his prime. If this offense does not meet the expectation, I would be shocked. There's just too many weapons, and they're running basically. They should run the same offense, and I do think that here's the thing too that I want the comment and all the listeners to remember that Dan Campbell is an offensive genius. He knows working with John Morton how to weekly put together the best game plan collaboratively to expose the weaknesses of the defense and get the player that they need to get over will get the production. And so I have no doubt because of Dan Campbell and John Morton and the sheer talent that's out there. So I'm so confident to see what this offense can do. My question marks lie a little bit more on the defense.
And kind of just while we're on the offense and John Morton, Doc, what do you expect to happen with Jared Goff efficiency-wise? I don't care about production as far as does he throw for 5,000 yards. When you look at Jared Goff on Sunday, Monday, Thursday night, whenever it is, do you think that in 2025 we're going to see a similar Jared Goff, a better version, or a worse version, given the fact there's a coordinator switch up? Because regardless, John Morton could be calling the great plays. But if they simplify that offense and it's just not fitting Jared exactly, it could sink or swim with this whole team. So what do you think we should expect out of Goff next year as far as efficiency standpoint?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. It might not even be a bad thing, too, because maybe you take a couple more deep shots. You know, Jamison Williams, you figure should be involved in the offense heavily and to take some shots. So the one thing I always look at, too, obviously, is, yes, efficiency, air yards, how many yards are they targeting in terms of each pass play. And then you look at it and you say, all right, with Jared Goff is the turnover margin. You want to make sure that he's throwing, making sure that this offense is getting into the end zone regularly, and kind of his turnovers kind of increased a little bit last year, and especially in the postseason. So I do see that maybe early on that those first 4 games, because your opponents, and plus 2, you're facing better opponents. So they're going to be bringing the pressure, bringing the heat. Some of those games could look a little ugly, you know, maybe the Commanders, and they're on the road too, where it might be, you know, a little bit challenging where you get down a little bit and it forces you to throw. So I think it's a very fair question, but I do think that even though he might have, you know, lower efficiency numbers, I still think this offense can move, because I think that when you have Jahmyr Gibbs in a running game, I think that there's going to be some more opportunities where there's explosive plays and opportunities for this offense to move the football a myriad of ways besides passing. And I think that Jared Goff, it's great, because I did ask the question. I said to David Shaw, I said, what do you think of Goff? And right away he was like, and actually something that was interesting too. I don't want to toot my own horn, but for the 30 seconds I will. I thought I asked a lot of pretty good questions. The coffee was hitting pretty good. I hit a lot of interesting stuff that I talked about. But something that you don't typically hear. You don't typically hear Mark Brunell elaborate quite a bit. He's pretty direct, straight to the point. He was saying when we asked about Jared Goff, and I asked, he said basically, you know, Jared's done pretty much everything. It's time for him to win the Super Bowl, and he's hungry. David Shaw told me directly, like, that guy, the thing that I notice is he's hungry. And that's kind of what I wanted to hear about Jared Goff. Like, that loss should have pissed him off. He played horrible, and his offensive line let him down. He should come back with his hair on fire and be starving for a Super Bowl. That's the only thing that everyone knows now is the last thing on his resume that will kind of lift the burden of criticism off of him. And literally, you know, I'm old enough to remember, and some of you guys in the chat as well, the old timers, Steve Young was in the same boat, super talented, a little bit more mobile, just was in the shadow of his situation was crazy. That's when I was growing up, and he was battling the Giants and trying to get over the hump. And everyone was just calling him second fiddle, not a guy that can win. And when he won the Super Bowl, there's an iconic shot of a player lifting the weight off of his shoulders, you know, right there on camera. So you want that for Jared Goff. I want to see him succeed, because he takes a lot of criticism playing the position. He's highly paid, But at the same token, all quarterbacks get a little bit too much blame and a little bit too much praise. But if there's a guy in Detroit that deserves an opportunity to get to the Super Bowl and win it, it's Jared Goff. He's the prototypical story that you'd want to see with what happened to him. So I'm excited to see the opportunity, and I really truly do hope he gets it. But of course, I have my doubts.
Yeah, Doc, I mean, just to ask you, kind of go back to the schedule a little bit. When you look at the NFC and just contenders, and we were talking about it earlier and going through teams and who are legit contenders, where are the Lions amongst these teams? When you look at the top of the NFC, you have the Eagles, and then you have the Lions, Commanders, Rams. Is that about what you're looking at too, in terms of like legit NFC threats, or is there anyone else maybe you want to throw in there, or anyone you want to take out that maybe you don't think is quite that on that level?
No, great hierarchy.
And where do you think the Lions rank amongst those teams too right now?
Yeah. It's the Lions are in the mix, top 5. It's tough at this point. It's still 90-man rosters. We haven't seen, and we still have yet to see the vets out there on the field. Seeing what's going on with the rookies was very interesting. But I look at it and I say, the team that is emerging clearly is the Rams and the Commanders. The Eagles are the staple, and the Lions are right there in the mix. So those 4 are going to be very interesting. And a team that, you could pay attention to that I don't think is going to, really take a big step, but you got to pay attention to them is the Bears. I think that Ben Johnson is, the more you look at it, okay, yeah, we joke around, we call him Benedict, my nephew, and people tell me like, hey, yeah, we joke around, but he did help Jared Goff and installed an offense that once he got his hands into it, made it pretty prolific. And you got to remember too, in 2021, Anthony Lynn was brutal. It was like, oh my God, it was just basically he wanted to run the ball with no creativity. And he got stripped of his, Dan Campbell stripped Anthony Lynn of his play calling duties. It was like, we don't need that. We don't need whatever it is you're doing. We want to stop that. And Ben Johnson in the passing game kind of took over. So maybe not this year, but the Bears just seem like the more you look at what they can bring to the table with an athletic quarterback, some nice receivers, if they can figure out some deficiencies along the offensive line, look out. They can do some things because Ben Johnson has that little bit of that, me against the world mentality that's similar to Dan Campbell, and he'd love nothing less than to ruin the Lions season. And this schedule, one of the unique takeaways is you start the year against the division and you end the year against the division. You start the year bad against the Packers and the Bears. That's not good. So just pay attention to the Bears and what they're doing. And this division is wild. And I, like everybody else, I want to see what J.J. McCarthy looks like the first part of the season.
Doc, I just want to ask you to throw it out there just because it's kind of big news this week is the Trey Hendrickson stuff. What are your thoughts on that? Because it's starting to come back up to the surface again. Can Brad make that move? Are you in, out on that? Can we officially close the tables on that or close the doors on that? Or is there like a crack it open, keep the door open a little bit? I think might know where I stand because I've been in arguments with people about it all week long. I would like to get your opinion on it.
Oh, are you like dangling the carrot for me to engage in some interesting conversation?
Oh, knew you wanted to talk about it, Doc.
It's interesting. You'd like to talk about a defensive end who spent 23 minutes complaining. It's an interesting topic, one in which a person might dangle some opinions, might want to check in and see if something clicks. You never know. It's interesting. People have opinions and they share them all over the place on the radio. Here, you asked me about it. Look, my opinion's always more. I want more. But you're absolutely right. You're humble, you're honest, and there's a lot of ways of answering it and looking at it. You're more like, look, man, realistically, this is the 45th go-round of Trey Hendrickson. Why are we talking about it? And you're very honest and respectful in the way in which you defended it. Great points. I look at it like the reason why we keep talking about it is that Trey is kind of squeezing the Bengals a little bit more. 20 minutes to share that, hey, the team would definitely take back my money if I wasn't producing. I don't care that the defensive end market is high. Pay me. I need my money. And I respect him for doing it. That's what a professional athlete is entitled to do. When you produce, you are entitled to say, hey, I'm not playing under the terms of this contract. I've outworked it. So now it does lend to I just wish that he wasn't expecting the $40 million because I do think the Lions definitely would be interested. It's just really tough because they look at it like, you know what, we can try and take a gamble with Marcus Davenport, Ahmed Hassanin, as you properly say it, and this new young Cooper who definitely shined. He was a player I think I did mention here last time when I was on, that he was somebody that definitely stood out. He was in the backfield and he was pressing it. So to your point, Booner, you get the bonus point for being realistic and being honest to say, hey guys, I mean, what's the realistic opportunity here? It's zero. It's basically zero. They're not doing it. I would be shocked. I think the next realistic move is keep battling the drum, keep coming on here and make a push for Zadarius Smith. That's the most realistic option in my opinion.
I love it. Doc, we appreciate you. The schedule release is going to be interesting. I mean, we're going to have the entire offseason to basically debate games and debate records. But until next Wednesday, we will catch you. Please check out Detroit Lions Sports Illustrated, the doc. He's grinding. He was grinding. I mean, pretty much grinding during the time he would have been on, still made time to join the show. So we appreciate you, my friend. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for having me. Truly, I really do value the time. I look forward to coming on. You guys definitely bring and your work too. Credit to you guys. You guys are on it faster than I can blink. I'm like, my God, Booner's on there. Hopefully healed from his rash, feels better, and is grinding to do the work needed. So, Booner, I'm proud of you.
Doc, I love how I appreciate you putting your problems on me, but I can confirm the Doc did text the boys. His rash is completely gone. It is gone. He is good. Right before he met John Morton, he was at the doctor's. They said, hey, you're good to go, and he's cleared. So he's not spreading the rash in the Lions locker room either.
No rash, baby. Let's get it right. I got the herpes, unfortunately, but
oh my God.
All clear, baby.
Oh,
see you next time.
Oh my!
Doc.
In the
junkyard dog.
Oh my!
Oh man! Wow, that took a turn real quick.
That's a Doc way to leave.
That took a. Huh?
Yeah, that. I mean, he took
Got
it
on
to
my
that
bingo
level.
card for the day.
He took it to that level.
Not about him joking with me about the rash last week, because as soon as he was going to leave, I was going to be like, hey, glad Doc's rash is gone. And then he hits it. He was ready to go. That's a funny. But then he's like, I have herpes. That's wow.
Something.
Hey, you know who isn't a rash anymore? Used to be a bad rash. Like you couldn't get rid of it. Javi Baez. Okay. He's not that rash anymore, man. Javi Baez has had a career resurgence at this point in time. So, you know what? I want to bring up Javi Baez. The Tigers won, swept the Red Sox. Shout out Sully, man. He texted.
Oh, no, Sully.
There you go. Big baseball guy, too. But the Tigers, man, they keep on winning. I don't know how else to say it. I mean, they're a good team. I mean, they'll lose guys. They continue to win. And they come up with these timely plays like today. Yeah. Walk off, get a huge win. I love it.
It's crazy to me too, because like I think one of the coolest things about it is like Javi Baez was one of the worst players in baseball last year. And now it's like he's gonna be an all-star. Like he's like they're bringing guys up, and they're like, originally it was like Javi's filling in until guys get back, and now guys are getting back, and they're like, hey, we can't move Javi. This man's one of the best in Major League Baseball right now. It's that's how good he is. Like he had all assets of his game. Like I don't know. It's nuts for Javi. I said it last night. I tweeted it out. I actually texted Caleb first because it said, hey, is it time? And I said, hey, we both agreed it's time. I think we can officially say it. Whether there's people that still have the question mark out there for Javi or wait, I think I love Javi Baez. I'm in. I love this guy. He's so fun to watch, dude. Like last night, I'm driving home. We were trying to stay live here. I hop in my car. And it's like Javi's already hit a home run. Game's on my car. There's a delay from the sound in my car to the game. So the game's going first and then the sound. And I'm like, in the corner of my eye, I see Javi swinging. I'm like, oh no, a strike. And then all of a sudden I hear Jason Benetti. Deep shot. And I'm like, no
Yeah.
way. This guy just hits an absolute bomb. Like, this guy is unconscious. Like, he is like in it. Like, this is why you paid Javi a couple years ago. And now it's like, yeah, you wish it the last 2 years it would have paid off. But it's like, okay, now the money is getting paid. Like, this is what you paid him to do what he's doing now. You wanted it over the last 3-4 years. Now you're finally getting it. I love Javi Baez. And even like everyone on this team right now is just, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, Boone. I mean, they're a complete baseball team. Of the last 9 games, 5 of those games, they've scored 10-plus runs. And in those same 9 games where they scored 5-plus runs, they've had 3 games with 1 run scored. They've only had 1 game over the last 9 games with more than 5 runs scored. And they've been hitting 10 points, 10 points, 10 runs, 10 runs, 10 runs. And they just continue to, when the games get close, they find a way to pull away. That game last night was one of, I mean, I have not watched a lot of baseball, granted, but that game last night was amazing. Javi Baez obviously off the bat, but then you see Riley Green making catches out in the outfield, laying out. They are just an all-around complete baseball team. And right now, I know we've been saying it, but you just have to keep hammering it home. They are better than the New York Yankees. They are the best team in the AL. And until proven otherwise, until this team slumps, I don't know how you can't say that they aren't. I understand if you want to talk about the other side of the MLB, but in the AL right now, Tigers are the hottest and best team.
Yeah, they're. I mean, it's incredible. You see like the chants after the game too. Javi.
Oh my gosh, it's
Javi.
insane, dude. And then tonight, Justin Henry Malloy with the walk-off as well. It's just this team they just continue to find a way. Sweep the Red Sox. Sweep them. Like that's I think Alex Bregman too, by the way, hit a home run tonight. We're not going to talk about that.
Yeah.
We won't do it.
Gave up an error that led to
care.
a run from Javi in the inning before, though.
Hey,
Yeah, so
Yeah,
hit a home run in the park he was scared of playing in. That's all it was, man. John Maakaron, Javi Baez is bricked up lately. Appreciate that, John.
yes.
For the continued membership there.
Shout out.
Yeah. Jomo says pitching staff is very good. Yeah, that's been the storyline, man. I mean,
Did you see today too? Scott Harris had the conversation that came out about Derek Skubal, basically saying it takes 2 to tango. It sounded like, I don't know, maybe I interpreted it wrong, or I don't know, but I kind of took it away where it's like the Tigers maybe want to get a deal done, but but it's really the agent. The agent, Derek Skubal's agent, is like a very well-known agent. I don't know his name, but he like is one of the best in baseball to where he gets like everything.
Yeah.
Yes, he's going to get Derek Skubal paid. And I think it's like, it might be a situation where they just keep saying no. And the Tigers are throwing money out, more money. And then Skubal and his camp's like, nope. And it might end up getting to a situation to where you get, in 2 years, you're sitting in free agency and you have to outbid and outmatch some of these guys. And that's just what his agent does. Like his agent's just, that's the name of the game for him.
Yeah. And it's unfortunately, you can't, it's impossible to have confidence of the Tigers. You let that man go to free agency that they're going to, outbid anyone for Skubal.
Yeah.
They're just, it's like, that's just the reality of it. So that's the reality of it. And Skubal's so fucking good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Had a great game again tonight.
I know Caleb sent a text
He's going to
today
win Cy Young.
Caleb sent a text today out. Was like, man, if I was on the mound, I'd be shitting bricks.
He's like, you couldn't pay me anything to get in the box with him. Like, yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, that dude is he's an assassin. I mean, he is. They're playing really well. We got about 4 minutes left, man. Drop any questions, concerns, thoughts, and we'll get to them. We will get to them.
Drop them.
Austin says, do you feel like the Tigers will go to the World Series?
Yes.
They got a chance there.
I think this is like a legit World Series contending team. I actually saw today some people, who was it? Someone who covers baseball had the Tigers in the World Series. I think they will. I do.
I agree. If they're playing around this level during the postseason, you saw them make a little bit of noise last year. Now they're finding their bats. If they're playing around this level, it doesn't have to be over, doesn't have to be too far under, but around this level, they have a chance to win the World Series, definitely.
Yeah. One of the best teams right now. Their odds are probably even higher to win the World Series. You have to look at them as contenders. You just have to. Let's see. JT Olsen Mailbag. Who wins the championship first, Tigers or Lions?
Both.
Lions.
They both
I'd
win
go
this year.
Lions, yeah.
Yeah, because baseball, it's just like I don't see them beating the Dodgers. No way.
Are we going technical here or same year?
What do you mean tech? What are you talking about?
Like Tigers are going to win it in October. Lions will win it in February.
They're not going to win it this year, man.
Imagine two teams in Detroit wins it in 1 year. That would be incredible. Like that's a renaissance here.
Who has a better shot? I think the Lions. Because
Lions have a better shot.
So I would go Lions based on the odds, just because the playing field, it's not, I think, where the Lions are as a team, talent-wise, although Boone would disagree. Not disagree, but he would assume we don't think this way. They're
no,
right
you
on
do,
par
Jeff.
with some of the other teams that
you
are
have,
in
you have
the equation.
You have going 2-4, 2-5, 2-3. I mean,
So, but talent-wise, they're much closer. The Tigers to the Dodgers, they got depth, but player for player, that's tough.
Yeah, dude. The Tigers are the 5th favorite to win the World Series. 5th favorite to win the World Series. The Detroit Lions are the 5th favorite to win the Super Bowl. What a world we're living in.
What's the odds like difference between
plus
the top?
900 to plus 1400?
Yeah,
A little bit of a difference there, but it's there a little bit.
Alex's mailbag. Would you rather be forced to eat expired Taco Bell or expired White Castle?
Ooh, I'm gonna go with White Castle just for the
Yeah.
fact that Mexican food versus burger. Mexican food could fuck your stomach up even if it's not expired. I understand a burger can, but the reaction to that, for me at least, I'm going White Castle.
I had food poisoning from Taco Bell a couple months ago.
Yeah,
I have not eaten Taco Bell since. Like I said, I will never eat Taco Bell again.
I just had it the other day.
Stuck to it. I would go White Castle in this situation.
I would go White Castle because basically when you're eating White Castle, it looks expired anyway. So it's like, you know what I mean?
Dude,
Listen, you know what?
Dude, Taco Bell is so
Yeah.
they literally they boil their meat. It's not even real meat. And
Just like
it
it
just
tastes
sits
good.
out all day.
By the way, Brad Holmes is in our chat. Shout out, Brad.
He said
Shout out
100
to him.
men versus 1 gorilla.
100 Brad Holmes.
I'm so done. No, we're not having this conversation. That was
Yeah.
fun for like a week. It was fun for a week. It's over now.
Yeah.
By the way, Jordan Schultz today is just an all-time
What happened? with that?
all-time mistake. This guy tweeted out the Detroit Lions will be facing the Minnesota Vikings the Minnesota Vikings on Thanksgiving Day. Put the time, the date, put the turkey head, everything. The man typed it out like they were playing the Vikings. Read his text wrong. It was the Christmas Day game. He just read the whole he read the whole wrong thing. I was like, what are you doing? Like, and he like kept it up for a little bit. Like it was up. It was up for enough time for me to go find pictures to use for our post, make a graphic, put a tweet out, and then after the tweet out, a couple minutes. Oh, something happened. Someone
when you pay for bad
definitely
leaks,
screenshot
Boone. When you have power, you can
Oh.
pay leaks for
Maybe
to be bad.
Rappaport has a burner and text him and said, "Here, this is it." Rappaport's been like setting him up the whole time, acting like he's someone inside the building.
Lean him
somewhere.
along, give
It's
him a
in
little
his hand.
breadcrumb.
That's such a funny way to go about it.
Hey, great show today, boys. Appreciate you all in the chat. We'll be live tomorrow. Be there, 8
Tomorrow.
o'clock. Shout out to the doc for joining. That was fun. Schedule release show. It's always a blast.
It's a
But
great
until
time.
tomorrow-
Hey,
we'll
boys.
catch you.
Hey, Lions win a Super Bowl?
Yes, sir.
Interesting. Jeff?
What do
I'm
you
listening
think?
right now.
Am I allowed to say yes, Boone?
I'm listening. I'm turning my headphones all the way up. I'm listening. You asked me to listen. I'm listening.
Am I allowed to say yes? Yes.
We end the show on good vibes.
Woo!
All right, there
Love
go.
you guys.
All right,
Peace.
peace.
Peace.